Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame in his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Grump, how are you doing this fine Saturday evening, man? This is like a late showtime that we used to go live on back in the day, Grumpy.
It's the late show. It's the late show. Starring
It's the
TJ.
late show. The late show. That's for certain.
Mm-hmm.
But for those of you who are new to the show, new to the podcast, new to the live stream, we welcome you here with open arms. This is an all Islanders podcast that takes place every single Saturday evening. We didn't have a show last weekend. I was traveling to the Grumpy Estate last week. That's why we didn't have a show last week. I got back today late, a lot later than we were supposed to, which is the reason for our late show time and start time here today. We're starting live 10 p.m. almost Eastern Standard Time. Usually we fall between the range of 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you want to catch it live. But we also do go ahead and upload the podcast and post. I've been kind of slacking a little bit on that, Grumpy, so I got to get them all uploaded, all caught back up. But if you're new to the show, new to the channel, and you like the podcast, you like the topics we discuss, you like some of our takes, the best way to support the channel is a few ways, right? By subscribing on YouTube, so you get a little bing notification anytime we go live, and also by liking the video. If you like the video, it lets myself, the grumpy old man, and everybody know that you like the content that we produce. And it helps also juice the algorithm, gets the podcast out to the masses. There's been one group of people, one podcast, who has been in front of the curve when it comes to identifying the true problems of this team, this organization, and when we should have made change. And it's been this podcast here. But, we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about that, the misery. Oh, can't wait to tune into the misery fest that is this show. Yeah, well, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about, should you be excited? We're going to talk about that, Grumpy. And we do have another podcast, Grump, that we do that's called TJ.
What are you yelling at me for? I'm listening to you. If you ever stop monologuing.
That's called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
The show, I haven't said a word yet, and you just
hold on, Grump, we do a 3 song. I'm doing the precursor, Grumpy. I didn't know if you want to talk about TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
Keep on going.
I didn't know if you want to talk about TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, Grump. But we do have another podcast that happens every single Sunday called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. It's myself, the Grumpy Old Man, and some X, where we talk anything and everything sports. Again, same time frame, around 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that show starts. Again, we talk NHL, we talk NBA, we talk MLB, we talk literally anything and everything sports. Since our last show, the Islanders went on a 6-game losing streak, then to beat the Minnesota Wild.
Was it actually 6 games after the last podcast, or?
Yeah, the last podcast, I believe, was on March 27th. I'll pull it up, though, to be sure, because everything was looking, everybody's
March
like, oh, man,
22nd.
Islanders. Was that
March 22nd was the last podcast.
Yep. Yeah, so March 22nd, we did the show, I think, before the Calgary Flames. We lost to the Calgary Flames in overtime on the 22nd, then lost to the Blue Jackets in shootout on the 24th, lost to Canucks on the 26th, the Lightning on the 29th, then the Hurricanes on the 30th, and then the Lightning on the 1st. Yeah, so we went on a 6-game skid after that Calgary Flames game. And maybe we lost to the Flames. Maybe we did the podcast right after the Flames lost to the Flames. But long story short, it's been 5 or 6 losses since the last time we had a show. And then we did win against the Minnesota Wild as of recent. But we did lose quite a bit of games. Grumpy, I'll let you first take a bite into the apple.
Yeah. As I mentioned to everyone all year long, it's a 500 club. Same wins, losses, and then you throw in the overtime losses. I don't count them like TJ does his losses. The NHL does, but I'll just say they're ties because you're getting a loser point. And right now we're 1 game over 500. And it's not surprising. Here's my prediction for the rest of the year. The Islanders are going to go on a little run now. Now that they've eliminated themselves from the playoff hunt, they're going to go on a little run and win some games just to ruin their draft position. This is quintessential New York Islanders from the 1990s. Instead of, just tanking a better draft pick, let's go out there, win some games and screw up our draft position. No, You should be more like the Boston Bruins, go into full tank mode. That's what you should do.
Yeah. They understood. We've got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's how it's always been. I mean, that's when we look at the Islanders. I mean, even in the early 2000s, we used to do that. We'd be mathematically almost eliminated from the playoffs. And at the end, we'd go on a tail like Buffalo. They're doing the same shit that the Islanders always do, where it's like, you're awful. Your team's miserable this year. You know, you're still along the rebuild route. You've got problems. But, hey, at the end of the season, we're going to go ahead and win a stretch of games to give you reason to believe that we fixed that problem going into next year. And the changes need to be more minor than what you originally had anticipated. And we're going to screw up our draft position. That's what they do.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not surprised. I didn't think we were going to make the playoffs. We're not good enough. The only thing that's even kept us in the race as long as it has is the fact that, the other teams in the Eastern Conference are just as bad.
So hold on. That's all you have to say. Grumpy was, oh, well, we knew we weren't going to. Grumpy, the Islanders just have been essentially mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, and you have nothing else to render besides.
I'm not surprised. I called it. I'm not. Hey, look at me. I'm right. No, it doesn't make me feel good to be right.
It doesn't. But what I hope happens, and this is the problem, I hope the fan base or certain sections of the fan base can finally start to wake up. That's what I hope happens.
Nope. They think, oh, we're really close. We have Matt Barzal back. We're gonna. Matt Barzal comes back, and we got Anthony Duclair coming back healthy, and all the defensemen. Everyone's going to be healthy. Man, this team's right in the mix for a Stanley Cup. Yeah, no, sorry. They got it signed by Cal Palmieri. That's a good move. No.
They got a what by Kyle Palmieri?
Sign him back.
Yeah. Okay, Grum. So. I don't think there's a lot of fans that are out there like that, but maybe there are, and maybe I'm just that are just unbelievably optimistic all the time.
I think it's like the country, right? You have the Lamanites and you have the intelligent people like yourself and I, and there's nothing you can do to convince them that the team isn't good enough and doesn't need to start over. Nothing you can do to convince them of that.
Well, I'll say this, Grump. A lot of these people are out here where it's just like, oh, hey, well, Callum Ritchie, he's going to be starting. He's going to be starting day one for the Islanders. He's going to be a second-line guy for the Islanders coming up next season.
He won't be a second-line guy to start. He will not.
It's the perpetual optimist that just it drives me absolutely crazy because this team is still in a spot to where they've not addressed really the core problems and the issues of this organization. They haven't. We now have gone 4 seasons and we have won 3 playoff games. Is that good enough? Not 3 playoff series. We've won 3 games in the playoffs. This was a team 4 years ago that was Stanley Cup or bust, just to make sure we set the right atmosphere of where we were and where we are now. Stanley Cup or bust, didn't make the playoffs. The next year, squeak into the playoffs the second to last game of the season, we win 2 games. The year after that, squeak in the second to last game of the season again, we win 1 game. This year, don't make the playoffs.
No playoffs.
We win no games. Are we happy? Are we happy with that?
I'll tell you, just squeaking into the playoffs, that's good. That's good. What do you want to be in a rebuild? You want to be a bad team for 10 years? You're a bad team now. You've been a bad team for 4 years.
Yeah.
The only thing you haven't done is try to improve it.
I feel like it's like, oh, we could be worse. It's like, man, what a terrible way to think about things. Oh, we could be worse than what we are now. We make the playoffs like every other year right now over the last 4 seasons, and we get destroyed in the first round if we do make the postseason. Is that enough? Well, we went to back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals. Again, you can look at
5 and 6 years ago. 5 and 6 years ago. That's ancient freaking history.
That's correct. Yep, that's correct. And again, like it's not the papacy. It's not the whatever it is when you're the Pope, Grumpy. It's not the papacy. It's not like where it's like, hey, if I get announced as the general manager of the New York Islanders, I have a job doing that until I step down. And that's how I feel it is, Grumpy, for Lou Lamoriello.
I think the biggest problem for the Islanders is that Garth Snow's draft picks are all starting to age out and off the team. And since Lamoriello hasn't really drafted anyone worth a damn, there's nobody to fill in.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in a second. We'll get to some of the ways that they're spinning, what we can look forward to, and the excitement that we're going to have going into next year, which I think is just, again, it's foolhardy, and it's going to lead to more despair, because I do believe we're 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We're not actually making a full commitment to rebuild, which is what we need. The team is what they are.
I have a plan, by the way. I have a plan. I absolutely have a plan. So I don't think we're going to talk about it today, but I mean, we'll talk about the end of the year. But I absolutely have a plan for the Islanders to get better.
Okay, Grumpy? What's that plan?
We have to ship off some defensemen, and I want to offer sheet a player.
Who do you want to offer sheet?
I told you we'll talk about this in the offseason.
Fuck. It is the offseason. The season's over, Grumpy.
Okay. What about the Rossi kid from Minnesota?
Marco Rossi, he's not going anywhere.
Oh, well, they don't have a whole lot of money in Minnesota.
No, they do.
They don't.
Don't Parise and Sutter's contract come due? Grumpy,
they're lower. I think they're very low.
And the cap goes up next year. They're going to be fine.
But they have other guys that they have to sign back yet.
So do we, Grumpy.
We don't. We're getting rid of Brock Nelson means, I mean, you're going to play. The Richie kid's going to play. He's not going to be a second liner.
You think the Richie kid's going to immediately step up and play?
I think he will be play third line center next year. That's what I believe. I absolutely believe that.
Okay.
Got to move Duclair. All right. Well, like I said, we don't want to go into that today. I mean, we'll just talk about what's happened the last week. But I put a lot of thought into this already. And then I once again thought, you know what? This is my favorite time of the year. It's the rebuild. It's the building for next year's team. It's my favorite time.
Well, we're going to be gravely disappointed when it's the same exact thing that always happens, and it's Lou still at the helm. The problem is this. Lou is still here. There's no point to dream when Lou's here. Realistically, what is there to dream for?
It gives me a couple of weeks to be happy and be an Islander fan. If I was general manager, what I would do.
I don't get it.
I mean, that's what I want to do. Supposedly you're going to see with the salary cap going up, you see a lot of teams making offers after they saw what St. Louis did last year with Edmonton. They had a team over a barrel, and they wound up signing Holloway, and who was the other guy they sold?
They're bottom six guys.
Oh, well, Holloway's not a bottom six guy.
They were bottom six guys in Edmonton.
Okay, maybe on Edmonton because they got Draisaitl and McDavid and Nugent Hopkins and Hyman and all those guys. That's why they're bottom six guys, but they have talent.
Well, they obviously missed the boat, and Edmonton mismanaged that offseason hideously bad. Simple.
That's what happens when you're up against the cap. You can take advantage of that, but you got to be smart. I don't think Mitch Marner's coming here. There are some guys who are free agents, but I don't think
he's not coming. Like anytime you hear people saying, "Oh, Mitch Marner's not coming to the Islanders," guys.
I agree, he's not. But I think maybe you take a run at a guy like Rossi. You can put him on you're a first line guy.
They're going to have plenty of space. They're not going to let Rossi get offer sheet. It's not going to happen.
Okay. You ask me, I'm telling you.
Okay, not going to happen.
You're the one who wanted to press me, so I told you, and then all you do is just poo-poo. That's all you do.
Realistically, the only way this team can improve is if Lou Lamoriello stepped down.
That's true.
That's it.
That's true.
Only way it can happen. He's been here now. How many years has Lou Lamoriello been here now? 7 or 8 years?
7. It'll be 7.
7 years. His entire team was constructed. And the success we saw was under a Garth Snow built team. It was. True. Whether you like that answer or not, Garth Snow drafted Sorokin. Now, I will say this, that Lou Lamoriello did bring in Robin Leonard, which was a great – that turned out to be really good. Bring in Varlamov, who played well. But again, it did help. But you look at the core and the nucleus of that team and the teams that made the back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals runs, it was a team that was constructed primarily by Garth Snow. Lou Lamoriello has had his fingers in the pie for 7 years now. And we've continued to have worse and worse results.
Have his fingers really been in the pie? It seems like he's just playing around with the crust.
No, he's got the ability to do anything. He is GM of hockey operations. Well, again, he has the ability to do whatever he wants.
But but he doesn't.
He's left the pie in the oven. It's gone, or he's left it out on the countertop for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's rancid. It's what it is now. But again, could have ate the pie. We could have gone. We could have done anything with it, but we've done nothing. We've done nothing.
You want to know the
The
thing
moves that we have made have just been hideously poor.
You know the thing that bothers me the most about a certain segment of the fan base?
What was that?
He did such a great job at the deadline moving Brock Nelson. And I'm like, no. Brock Nelson, he didn't want to do it.
Correct. And that's the thing that people will always try to go ahead and they'll try to cover up. Oh, what a great return they got for Brock Nelson. They got a first-round pick and Callum Ritchie. Oh, this is fantastic. If Brock Nelson would have said, I am interested to have maybe sign an extension, he was not trading away Brock Nelson.
That's right. He was not going to trade anyone away. Correct.
He said that up until the last hours. He said, we're going to try to do anything we can to re-sign back Brock Nelson.
And Kyle Palmieri blew smoke up his ass and says, well, oh yeah, I'll consider an extension. I really hope he leaves. I really hope he leaves. That's what I really hope happens. So this way I can just shred him again in the offseason, not just the regular season. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And the best sellers market that you've seen in forever almost, he doesn't cash in on guys who are UFAs. Look at Boston. 2 years ago,
what they're doing.
Do you think if Lou Lamoriello was the GM of Boston, he would have sold anyone at this deadline?
No. He would have been adding.
That's right. Make the playoffs. Make the playoffs. At some point, just look in the mirror. Just look in the mirror. I like I said, for me, you're right. I 100% agree. Lamoriello's got to go. He's the big problem. I don't know what his contract status is. He should go.
It doesn't share that information because it doesn't need to be shared. To be completely fair with Lou, he's done a few good things. He officially signed Barry Trotz. Bringing Barry Trotz as the head coach was the best thing that Lou Lamoriello ever did for this organization. That's it. And then signing officially Sorokin. Those were the two big things that he did for this organization. That's it. I don't pencil in, oh man, great deal. You traded for Bo Horvat and you signed him immediately back. What a great move. How is Bo Horvat this year?
I don't even know how many points does he have. 50? Does he have 50?
A solid second line center.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he was playing without Matt Barzal and his numbers would be so much better. When you're paying a guy, how much are they paying him? $9 million,
$8.5 million a year.
When you're paying him $8.5 million a year, he should be able, Grumpy, to get a little bit of an offense going. He should be able to produce a little bit. That's simple. And
he's been okay. He's been okay. He showed hustle, but
did he take a step back or a step the same? Kind of where did he fall?
He's not a move the needle guy.
Why are you paying him $8.5 million then?
Because that's the only way you get anyone to come here is to trade for them and then overpay to keep them. That's his MO since he's been with the Islanders. Trade for guys, it wound up that trade with Vancouver was probably, I think, considered a win for the Islanders, but it doesn't make a difference. Consider what he gave up is all I'm saying.
First round pick, Ratu, and Anthony Beauvillier. And Beauvillier, by the way, has played really well for Washington, shockingly enough.
Good. Here's the thing: you put players on good teams, and you put them where their talent level dictates they should be, and all of a sudden they can play. Yep. Come on. It's the problem with the Islanders have is that we're always trading for guys who are third and fourth liners and elevating them in the lineup, and it's just not their skill set. Like I got into a disagreement with Phil over the weekend where he's talking about Sipelkov. Okay, I think Sipelkov is fine on the fourth line. I think he's fine as a fourth liner. Oh no, he needs to be playing. I said no, dude. He sucked when he played on the second line.
He commits a lot of penalties. He is like a penalty machine. He reminds me of Leo Komarov with the amount of penalties he commits.
Because he doesn't move his feet.
That's correct. He's lazy. He doesn't move his feet. I can't tell you how often I just don't see him back checking. He's reaching. He's just hooking all the time. No.
Why is he so successful on the fourth line? Because
limited time on the ice.
He's playing with Gatcomb and McLean, who are go-getters, which frees him up to set them up by standing around.
Yeah.
That's why he works on the fourth line. And I'm like, I'm never a believer in changing something that works.
Yeah.
I want to do so. If I find a line that's really, really good, I'm keeping that line. I'm not moving guys to try to juice the rest of another line, because then you wind up weakening yourself in two spots.
But like with Gakcom this year, out of nowhere, he comes in and he's like, oh, he's done fantastic. He's been a great addition to the team. Now, here's the thing. It just shows how stupid it is to have signed Casey Cizikas to that long-term deal that we did, and he's still going to be on there. He's still on the team for years to come, 2 more years after this season. And again, like you could see, Casey Cizikas has kind of lost his step. He's not the same player he was before. He's a bottom six guy.
He's invisible. He's absolutely invisible. I don't even notice he's on the ice. I just don't. It's like when Casey even playing? Now I know he scored a goal the other day, nice deflection goal in the Minnesota game, but he's been invisible. He's your third line center net, right? I mean, just kind of is what he is. You don't sign again. What's the things I always say? You don't sign 30-year-olds to long-term extensions, and you don't sign 30-year-olds who are bottom liners at all. Period.
I don't have a problem signing a really talented guy that's maybe at the age of 30. I don't have, like, if he's extremely talented, I have no problem at all signing him a long-term deal. I don't. If that guy's like a Panarin, I'd sign Panarin to a multi-year. Like, that's what I mean. Like, if they're fantastic players, you absolutely can sign guys past the age of 30 to long-term deals. No problem with it. But what you don't want to do is say, Scott Mayfield, you've been a pretty good soldier for us for a few years. We're going to give you a 7-year deal at $3 million per. We're going to what? How old was he when he signed that deal? 31?
30
years old?
Doesn't matter.
In what galaxy does having Scott Mayfield on your team at the age of 35, 36, and 37 make any sort of sense?
But the worst thing is there are people say, it's so easy to move Scott Mayfield. It's impossible to move Scott Mayfield. Impossible.
When Lou has been faced to move guys with much less term and the cap hit near the same as Mayfield, like I'm going to use Josh Bailey for an example. Josh Bailey had 1 year left on his contract, making $5 million, and they had to give up a second-round pick to get rid of Josh Bailey?
Was it 1 or 2 seconds?
I think it was one second round pick to Chicago to get rid of Josh Bailey, and they just immediately dumped him because the cap hit was negligible for them. Again, like you're multiple years, and like Scott Mayfield has been a healthy scratch for weeks upon weeks. Now he played yesterday's game, but he's been a healthy scratch. What teams are saying, sign me up for the 32-year-old defenseman who's had the same broken foot twice and has lost noticeable steps on his game, that has multiple years, I think 4 or 5 years left on his contract.
5 more years.
Who's got 5 years left on his contract, that is 32 years old, doesn't move the same way anymore, and has been a healthy scratch for a team that doesn't even make the playoffs. Sign me up for a guy like that.
And he's a bottom pairing defenseman. Yes. I mean, you can't move guys like that. I almost think it's almost impossible to move Pelech or Pulock.
Pelech, I don't think you can move. Pulock, I think you can. Pelech he offers nothing on the offensive side of the puck. He's been abominable at times. Not very good. Pulock at least can offer some offensive relief. I think Pulock has some more value.
But again, who's going to absorb 5 or 6 year contract? I don't know how many years. I think they're both 5 left. 5-year contract, 5 years of contract left for guys who are obviously on the downside, making over $5.5 million a year. Who would, unless you want to start eating salary?
Well, I don't think the Islanders are playing. Lou doesn't want to do that. Think about it. Yeah, you've got another 4 years of Pulock, and I think you got 4 years of Pulock and 3 years of Pelech. But I'm gonna let you know something. Lou doesn't want to do that. Doesn't matter. Lou is not planning on trading away pieces and starting a serious rebranding of the team and of the organization. He doesn't want to do that. Why am I saying that? Well, because the trade deadline showed that. He didn't trade away Kyle Palmieri. Why did he not trade away Kyle Palmieri? as we've read the quotes, and again, this is from Pierre LeBrun, to show the guys that, hey, they still have a push to make the playoffs, and that he said that Kyle Palmieri may be interested in signing back. What sort of sense does it make to sign a guy back that's a 34-year-old right winger who shouldn't be in most good teams, is not a top 6 forward anymore? He's a bottom 6 guy on good teams. What sort of sense does that scream we're going to start changing the way our organization looks, or we're going to start changing the face of our team?
Look at the guys who've been absolutely invisible down the stretch.
Anders Lee,
yep. Kyle Palmieri, J.G. Pageau.
Yep.
Those are guys you needed to move at the deadline, or some, at least at the absolute minimum, it should have been Palmieri. I thought they should have moved Lee.
Palmieri, they were only offering a second and a middle tier prospect.
I don't care.
Because that price.
Guess what you're going to get in the offseason? Nothing. You're going to get nothing because he'll sign somewhere else.
And let's say even if he's okay, if I'm Kyle Palmieri, and even if I sign back with the Islanders, what sort of value and benefit does that offer, first off? And second off, I'll probably sign with the Devils. Couldn't you see that? Yeah. Probably sign back with the Devils. I could definitely see that. And I wouldn't blame him for it either. But what you did and said, I'm turning my nose up at a second-round pick for the possibility maybe to sign him back. Shit, you could have traded him away, and still, if you were hell-bent on signing back, explore that avenue in the offseason. But get a second-round pick back in return and give him a 1-year contract. But guess what? He'll get more than a 1-year deal, I'm sure, in free agency, which is probably maybe why the Islanders won't get him. And the Islanders, again, to say that we're not going to change the way that the future of this team looks in the face of organization, we wanted to sign back Brock Nelson to a long-term contract. There you go. We're not planning on changing anything. This is what I mean. The more Lou, the more things will continue to erode and turn hideously.
He's got to go. He's got to go. No doubt about it. He's got to go.
But look at this, guys. Look at what Lou did in a matter of years. He got a top-tier prospect in Cole Eiserman. He traded for Callum Ritchie, and he's got 3 first-round picks in the next 2 years. Lou has done this over 2 years. This is a fantastic job by Lamoriello.
Look what Boston did in 1 day. I'm just saying, look what Boston did in 1 day. 1 day. 1 day.
I will say this. I hope Callum Ritchie turns out to be great. I hope Cole Eiserman turns out to be great. I hope the guys we have in our prospect pool pan out. Here's the one thing about prospects, and as much as I am heavy in a rebuild and wanting to stock the cupboards with prospects and guys that can perform, how many times as Islander fans, and this is not always going to be the case going forward, but every sure thing, oh, this is a can't-miss guy. This is fantastic. Oh, this is a great prospect. This is going to pan out great. The reality of the situation is, even when they're can't-miss guys, they absolutely can miss. That's the thing. So you have to have multiple kicks at the can. You know, if you've got 3 or 4 can't-miss guys, great. I hope 2 of those maybe really pan out to be exactly what we expect. So, you know, the fact that we have maybe a few of these guys that can turn out to be something great, I'm happy with it. And I hope they turn out to be exactly what we expect. But to expect every single guy to be exactly what the expectation is just unrealistic. It just is. It's the reason why people get upset with rebuilds. Oh, well, okay, you can't have the expectation that, oh, great, every single time we're drafting in the top 10, this guy's going to be our top 6 forward. This guy's going to be a top 4 defenseman, and we just got a franchise goalie. It's just not how it works. So, you know, you're drafting 18-year-old kids and boys.
If you're lucky, 1 out of 3 of your big prospects make it.
Yeah, right? and you can get a few really big difference makers. That's what you're hoping for.
The only way to get, I mean, okay, Callum Ritchie was the number 27 pick in the draft for Colorado. And
for everybody who's saying late picks, late first-round picks, remember at the deadline, late first-round picks don't matter. The guy that we acquired, Callum Ritchie, that now everybody is fawning over, was a late first-round pick. The guy that we traded away, Brock Nelson, was a late first-round pick. You absolutely can find players that are difference makers at late first-round picks.
You have to be, your scouting staff has to be able to identify those players.
Yep.
That's the biggest issue. Look at the teams who are perennially getting players from the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds. Your Tampas, your Floridas, your even Toronto has had luck with some of those guys. I mean,
Dallas had a lot of really good fortune with late 2nd, 3rd, 4th round picks. But again, that's the difference maker. Simple as that.
And our guys, I mean, I think we have, for the vast majority of our scouting staff, is still the same guys who've been there since Garth Snow was there.
I have no idea. I can't speak to that, but maybe not.
I think they just need clean house, period.
The more Lou stays here, the more the trouble persists.
And defensively, how many defensemen can you carry 10 defensemen on the team next year?
By proxy, we're going to have to trade players away. Remember the big acquisition, the important acquisition of Scott Perunovich. Oh, man, Hobie Baker Award winner Scott Perunovich. They just didn't know how to utilize him right. But now he's come with the Islanders. Look at these great plays immediately. Scott Perunovich played like 10 games, and he's not suited up again for the Islanders for like the last 20 or 30 games.
Scott Perunovich and Isaiah George are very similar players. Not great defensively, but here's the thing. But George is bigger than Perunovich, but their offensive style skill set is very, very similar. You don't need a Scott Perunovich.
Well, that's what I mean, though. All these can't miss guys. Isaiah George, William DeFore, Matthew Maggio, Alex Jeffries, Callie O'Dalius. That's right. Thank you, Grumpy. All of these guys. And we were on board with a few of them, too. We're not completely when it comes down to these guys that we get excited. We were definitely big on Kiefer Bellows. Swing and a miss. Didn't see anything from Oliver Wahlstrom. Swing and a miss. That's what I mean. All of these guys that you're drafting, and even the guys that look like they're really performing at the lower tier, until they actually get up in the league and start performing, we have no idea and knowledge of what the impact of those players are going to be. That's why you need to have as many of those young players that can maybe slot in to be successful as possible if you're going to rebrand.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I don't believe he's going to do anything in the offseason either, but I can dream.
What's the point?
But even look at his big free agent signing of last year, Anthony Duclair.
Great segue, Grump.
Who was the first person to say 9 teams in 11 years? There's a reason. For a guy who always scores 20, sometimes 30 goals, he can't stick on a team. There's a reason. We found out the reason. What was it? Tuesday night?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Anthony Duclair and the relationship with Patrick Waugh, and everything seems to be on the rock. So first, we'll kind of paint the picture. Islanders played, I believe it was Tuesday night. It was a loss, right? It was a loss against the Lightning, a 4-1 loss, and Duclair only played like 12 minutes. And they asked a question about it. And Patrick Waugh, as I've mentioned plenty of times, not a great coach, good motivator, not a good X's and O's guys, not a good coach.
Can you play the raw video? Because I know the Islanders have scrubbed that video. Yes. So you don't see it anymore on their website.
Well, no, from the NHL.com, they went ahead and made sure that was not included, that little question. But remember how many times we've talked about this from the Islanders media cartel, how if they don't like how certain things sounds or how it can be construed one way or the other, they completely wipe it like it doesn't exist. Exactly as Grumpy said. We have brought this up for years about them. And they asked a little bit of I wouldn't even call this a tough question. This was just Patrick Waugh getting upset because he's an emotional guy. This is the response. I'll just let you listen to it entirety here. Let's make sure I've got the volume loud enough here. Let's listen.
And Duclair played only a little over 12 minutes.
He was god-awful. He was god-awful. He had a bad game. That's why I didn't play him a lot. And he's lucky to be in the lineup. Sorry if I lose it on him right now, but that's how I feel.
Just what are you seeing that he's not doing?
He's not skating. He's not competing. He's not moving his feet. He's not playing up to what we expect from him.
Do you feel like that's an effort thing?
I think it's an effort thing.
Bam.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
First thing. He didn't even and I don't know who the person who questioned it was, but was that Stefan? I don't know.
No, it's not Stefan. Maybe it was Ethan Sears. I don't know who it was. Doesn't matter. I think maybe Ethan Sears, but I'm not sure.
Okay. He cuts off the question to rip the shit out of Duclair.
God almighty.
Okay, that's fine. But what's the most disheartening thing of this whole episode of what happened? A lot of people saying, "Oh my gosh, he talks so mean about Anthony Duclair. Anthony Duclair is playing hurt." Horse shit.
I'll tell you this much. You're exactly right. All of these losers online. They're like, oh, you can't go ahead. He's playing injured. He didn't even have surgery. He had this torn groin. He's still playing hurt. Guess what? Your head coach doesn't come out there and tear the living shit out of you like that if you're playing hurt. I've played for a lot of teams, and I've had a lot of good and bad coaches. Coaches don't come out and tear the living shit out of players if they're playing injured. It's not like, oh, hey, Ryan Kessler is playing with a hernia. We need to see more out of Ryan Kessler. He's half-assing and dogging it out there. I don't like his effort. No, you don't hear anything like that. Nothing at all. And this is not the first time you've seen a coach speak about Anthony Duclair and the lack of effort and the lack of care. We're going to bring that all full circle.
Okay. Where was I before you interrupted?
You were talking about Anthony Duclair, and you're talking about the injury.
Right. When they specifically ask him if it's a hustle issue, and he says, yes, I think it is. They're not sending players out there who are hurt. But at this point in the season, they're just not doing it.
Correct.
They're just not doing it. When you start trading pieces off, I don't care if you think you can maybe squeeze into a playoff spot, even though you haven't been in a playoff position since November. Not one day since sometime at the end of November have you even been in a position to make the playoffs. You don't rush guys like that back. But the most disappointing thing to me and disheartening thing is they had a talk the next day. And what's Anthony Duclair's response to getting called out by Patrick Waugh? I quit. I can't. I need time off. I need this. You got 3 more years of this freaking clown.
He's not going to be here.
They have to buy him out.
It's going to be a mutual termination of contract.
It has to happen. You cannot bring him back. You can't look at the other guys in the room as a coach and say, well, this guy didn't like me calling him out, and he just walked off, but we're going to bring him back. First of all, he's just not that good. He's just not that good, okay? He's got 11 points all year long in 50-something games, 11 points.
It's because he's been playing injured, Grump.
I don't care. I don't care. He's been on the first line. He's played on power play. He's just not that good. He's always benefited by playing on really good teams or really bad teams where he's the number one option. But on the good team, he's going to get some bonus points because, the best defensive players are playing against good players. And when you're playing on a team like San Jose, well, nobody gives a shit that San Jose. So you can put some points up there. He's just not a winner. He's a quitter. He's a quitter. And he quit on the Islanders. There's no way they can bring him. In my opinion, no way you can bring him back.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do.
I want to listen to this one more time here, and we'll go ahead and we'll dissect it one more time.
And Duclair played only a little over 12 minutes.
He was god-awful.
You're right. He only played 12 minutes before the questions even asked. He was god-awful. God-awful. Not just like, man, he's struggling, he's played bad. He was god-awful. Now, remember, going into the offseason, man, Patrick Waugh called up Anthony Duclair and said he wanted him as a part of the team, and Patrick Waugh's poll brought in Anthony Duclair.
Okay. I'm going to think that Lamoriello talked with Waugh about Anthony Duclair, who had coached him previously.
Sure. I'm just saying, right? Like, this was like, oh, man, the great relationship. Patrick Waugh, the poll of Patrick Waugh. I'm just saying, right? It's crazy how quick things change. That's more the reason.
Money is what brings players in. Money. You got to pay them.
The only team that was willing to give him more than a 1-year contract was a New York.
You have to let them grow their hair the way they want to.
Yeah. Don't get me started on that.
He was god-awful. He had a bad game. That's why I didn't play him a lot. And he's lucky to be in the lineup.
He's lucky to be in the lineup. Oof.
Doesn't that tell you?
He really is. He's been awful all season.
Doesn't it tell you all? Think about what about the first 5 games? Boy, he was really good the first 5 games. Well, it's an 82-game season. Pierre Engvall's looked good for 5 games this year.
Yeah, Pierre. Guess what? Pierre Engvall received criticism from Patrick Waugh.
Yeah. And how did he respond? Did he say, "I'm
packing my shit up and going home"?
I need time. I need to be off the team for a while. Like I said, there was a reason this guy played on 9 teams in 11 years. There was a reason. We did not know the reason. 12. It'll be 10 and 12. But we knew there was a reason. We didn't know what it was, but we knew there's no way a guy who scores 20 plus goals every year and sometimes 30 is just released every year or traded every single year. There's a reason.
Yep. A new team signs and nobody's like, hey, I want to sign back the guy who just scored 20 or 30 goals from us. How many 20 and 30 goal scorers did the Islanders let walk into free agency by their own volition? Islander fans. None.
They usually get 5-6 year extensions at $5 million per. This guy's
Sorry
getting
if I lose.
Good, Grump.
This guy's getting what, $3.5 million for the next 3 years?
I think they're going to mutually terminate the contract.
They have to. They have to cut him loose.
Yes.
Lose it on them right now, but that's how I feel.
Just what are you seeing that he's not doing?
He's not skating. He's not competing. He's not moving his feet. He's not playing up to what we expect from him.
Do you feel like that's an effort thing?
I think it's an effort thing.
Bam. Bam. You're not giving effort. You know what? He never said that about Engvall.
Nope.
He said Engvall was a pussy.
Engvall was afraid to go to the corner.
And he wouldn't go in front of the net, and he wouldn't go onto the boards. So what did Engvall do? And I've been an Engvall a guy who's certainly not in favor of signing him. That's for certain. But what did Engvall do? He has gone out of his way. You see him trying to be more physically engaged. It's not his style. He can do it for a few games and then he slacks off. He's a guy you always have to have the whip on him.
Yeah.
Just like Kasper Holmstrom was another guy, another Swedish guy, just never wanted to engage along the walls, never wanted to go to the dirty areas. He's doing that much better this year. And what do you know? He's a better player instead of being a perimeter Pete. And like I said, I always gave Engvall credit for at least trying. It's not his skill set, but he's trying. And he's had some results. What's Anthony Duclair's? What does Anthony Duclair do? I'm going to take my puck and go home. That's it. I don't want this guy. We support him. I don't support him. Why would I support that? I'm sick and tired of supporting failure. I don't want to do it.
But again, like if for the people who watched and paid attention, we were tweeting about this, Grumpy, and maybe not you, but we talked about it. We were talking about this back in January 14th. And this is about 10 games after he came back from injury. And it's just like, where's the effort level? Where's the compete? You're not seeing any of it. Big offseason acquisitions not doing shit for us. And again, it's just kind of like, where is it? Where's the juice? Where's the effort? Where's the want to? Didn't care. Doesn't care. Had nothing to do with the injury.
Now, here's the thing. I know Anthony Duclair has played for a lot of teams, played for John Cooper in Tampa. Did John Cooper say anything nasty about him? No. Because John Cooper's, I don't want to say he's a class act, but he knows how to work the media. That's not Patrick Waugh, and that's not John Tortorella.
Wait, what?
You're not going to hear Paul Maurice rip his players like that. Most coaches do not rip players. But the ones who do certainly have some interesting things to say about
the ones who are honest to the press.
About Duclair. Yeah.
Rob Todd there said, yep, the Islanders PR team cut out Patrick Waugh going scorched earth on Anthony Duclair from the post-game video of him speaking. This is NHL.com that they edited that. That's great. Isn't the first time they've cut it out, something that's Waugh's post-game, and he's being very critical. Yeah.
And you want to know why the team sucks? Because it comes right from the top.
Yep.
Right from the top.
Absolutely.
Let's not rip our players. Let's not do this. We want them to stay. I don't want any losers to stay. I don't want any quitters to stay.
I don't want passengers on this team.
I don't want Anthony Duclair.
No, but seriously, in all honesty, we talked about it. There's we've said it already though. There's a reason he was on 9 teams in 11 years, scoring almost 20 to 30 goals a season. 20 to 30 goal scorers are not guys they say, hey, we're not interested in you. He was cherry picking. He doesn't back check. He doesn't do a lot. And he's a quitter. There's your reason. Right there. We saw it. But yeah, I love this. Stefan Rosner tweeted out there. Patrick Waugh says that he and Anthony Duclair had a long conversation this morning, a positive one. Duclair told Waugh that he needed some time off to reflect, and Waugh agreed to that. The Islanders will give him all the time he needs.
How about the rest of his life?
Let's see you later. You're done.
Yeah. The thing is, now you're going to have to pay him, and it's going to come off your cap. You're going to have to come. It's going to have to come off your cap because of the hideous, horrible, once again, stupid signing by Lou Lamoriello.
I like this.
Here's the thing. Lou Lamoriello makes the same mistakes over and over and over again. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, and he's the perfect example of that. Who will he sign this offseason? Is he going to sign Wayne Gretzky to a 15-year extension? Who
I
knows?
like this from Ethan Sears, by the way. He dug through and found this. It's so grateful, Ethan. Doing a great job, doing God's work on this one. He says, back in 2019, John Tortorella had some eerily similar things to say about Anthony Duclair as Waugh did the other night. Now, this was back from February 19th of 2019. I'll read it's got like a few posts here, so we'll read kind of the thread. It says, I don't think he knows how to play, and he's off the rails. They're just two things. Just two of the things that John Tortorella said to describe Anthony Duclair, who is in the Blue Jackets lineup in a little over an hour because Artemi Panarin is out. He says, I still can't believe what I heard from Duclair or from Tortorella on Duclair. I've never heard an NHL coach rip one of his players to shreds like that just prior to the game time, no less, in Duclair's hometown. Here's Duclair's comments in its entirety. It says, when you said it's listening with him, is it a matter of him being a slower learner, or just being stubborn? I don't know. Right now, I don't. This is Tortorella. I don't know. Right now, I don't know. I don't think he knows how to play. I don't. It seems to me like he's a player that just feels he can get the puck because he's a tremendously skilled. He can skate and all those things, that you guys know. I just think he thinks he can do whatever the hell he wants on the ice. You can't do that in the National Hockey League. We have spent a lot of time trying to teach him situational play away from the puck, all stuff we do with other players. Sometimes it looks like he's understanding. So to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know if he can't comprehend or if he's just stubborn, but he's running out of time. I'll tell you one thing. John Tortorella's comments back then that were heavily ridiculed don't look so bad when you've got multiple coaches across many years that are saying the same thing.
He's, like I said, sounds like he's a guy. He sounds like he's lazy, and I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah, that's just who he is. That's why he's been on 9 teams in 11 years. I'm just going to do what I want. I'll put forth effort if I want to. I'm going to do what I want to on the back check. I'm going to do what I want to in a certain situation. I'm just going to play how I want to play hockey.
This is a guy who Phil's Facts said that, he's going to be our first line winger. This is going to be like one of the top 5 lines in the league.
Masterclass, a Lou masterclass.
The only thing's a masterclass from Lou Lamoriello is how he screws up every single year. You want to know how to destroy a franchise? Lou Lamoriello is the masterclass to teach you how to do that. He absolutely knows how to do that. Again, just another failure. Every single signing he's made, honestly, have been failures. The only one that I consider a victory was Brock Nelson. He was the one. That extension absolutely paid for itself. Can you name another one? Long-term extension? Something that made a difference for the money? Wow. Pelican Pulak have fallen off the planet since he signed them. Gave them 8-year extensions, both of them. Which is like, dude, they're defensemen who...
No, Pellick was a 7-year. 1 year less.
Okay. But I think
he gave big long-term deals to both.
Yeah. To a defensive defenseman. I'm like, why? Why?
Oh, I'm sorry. Pellick was an 8-year deal too. My mistake. Wow.
One was signed a year after. I think Pulak was signed a year after.
Okay.
But it's like, like I said, their best year was the second Eastern Conference final. That was their best year. They were really good those 2 playoffs. But you could tell ever since that, and we talked about it on the show numerous times, you've seen their play decrease and diminish. And maybe it's just the style of play. The Islanders play a physical style. It's not good for longevity in defensemen. It just isn't. Scott Mayfield, terrible re-signing. I'm a Scott Mayfield guy. Terrible.
Varlamov,
36-year-old goalie. Let's sign a 36-year-old goalie to a 4-year extension. Dude, if you've learned anything about this year, backup goalies are just freaking backup goalies. You can sign them for whatever league minimum is.
Yeah. Hogberg can come in and play every other game, or he can come in and play 20 games a season if he needs to do the job. I mean, that's really what you're asking him to do. Now, I'll tell you this. people are going to probably say this. Now, I think Sorokin has not probably performed at where he would like to this season, albeit all of our defensemen are offensive defensemen and guys that are retreads that we have on the ice right now.
Little
Tony,
pissed.
again, I've been in multiple teams. Tony, I've been on multiple teams. D'Angelo, what has he been on? 7 teams in 10 years or something like that? Something crazy, maybe 5, whatever it is, multiple teams in a short time frame of his career. You brought in the guy who was essentially cut at that side there, Adam Boquist, who was waived. Offensive defenseman Adam Boquist, who plays 0 defense, and D'Angelo, who plays 0 defense. It's just like,
Now, here's the thing. I don't mind Adam Boquist, but I turn him into a winger. I turn him into a forward. He plays defense like a freaking forward anyway.
more what I mean. I was tying that into Sorokin. We don't have many defensive defensemen. We're not prioritizing probably defense as much as we have in the past. And Sorokin, I know there are going to be people out there who say Sorokin was a bad signing. Let's just wait on that. Okay, let's just wait is the only thing I have to say on that. Now, other long-term deals, the Brock Nelson one absolutely panned out. No doubt about it. We start looking at some of the other deals. I wouldn't say Count Clutterbuck necessarily was a huge plus and a huge win on the long-term contract extension. Casey, not a huge win. Jean-Gabriel Pageau, Grumpy, do you have that as a big win? The first half, maybe. Second half, no, he's not.
No, it was a wild overpay in draft compensation, a first, a second, and a third round draft pick, and a 5-year extension at $5 million per for a third line center.
Yeah.
And that was in 2018, 2019, whatever it was.
Yeah, 19.
No, you don't do that.
And Palmieri, think about that. That was another, again, like the compensation we gave up was only a first round pick essentially for Palmieri. But again, the deal was
first to fourth, 2 players for him and Zajac.
Yeah. I wouldn't say we were a clear winner in that.
And nothing, absolutely nothing moves the needle. There's no move the needle players as he brought it. None. Not a one. That's fair, right? Do we have any move the needle players on this team?
Matt Barzal, I'd say, is a move the needle type of guy.
He can't stay healthy now. All of a sudden, can't stay healthy. Been hurt. How many 3 years in a row now he's been hurt?
No, I think it's 2 of the last 3 years.
Okay. It's hurt a lot. Hurt a lot.
He's not a big body guy. I mean, he may just be a guy who always is going to. He's now, think about it. How old do you think Matt Barzal is, by the way?
27, 28.
Yeah. 27 years old. He'll turn 28 next season. He's not a young guy anymore. He's a vet. Yeah, last year he played 80 games. 2 years ago he played 58, and this year he played 30. So 2 of the last 3 years he's missed, 20-plus games.
Okay. Adam Pelech. How many games he missed over the last 3-4 years?
Quite a few.
Pulak. Mayfield.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. You keep on making the same mistake. He just makes the same mistakes over and over again. He thinks that the guys on this team are the greatest ever. They're not. There's no difference makers on this team. High-end talent is what wins you games. At the end of the day, high-end talent wins you games. Period. We don't have any. None. I don't even consider Matt Barzal that anymore. Not in this system. The defense first system, he should be moved.
One of the bad thing is we've squandered his ability and his talent.
Yeah, we knew that was going to happen.
The Islanders have zapped everything from him. Staff.
Sometimes I wonder, these guys realize what a mistake it was signing back with the Islanders. Just asking.
I don't know about that.
You're not winning anything. You're not winning anything. If Kyle Palmieri signs back here, what is he saying?
I don't care about winning.
I don't care about winning. That's exactly what he's saying. I do not care about winning.
We're only 7 points out of a playoff spot, Grumpy.
I just want to I want to be comfortable living in the cul-de-sac. I want to get a nice bit, because he'll get a 3-year extension at 30
like a no trade clause or a modified no trade clause, something like that.
Look, I just want to see how many points that piece of shit has.
Palmieri?
Yeah, and I don't even know how many points he's had since the deadline.
I can tell you that, Paul.
He's been just
this season. Kyle Palmieri has 47 points.
47 points. 47 points in 75 games. Maybe And I mean, maybe he'll hit 50. He's 34 years old.
I think
Why would you resign a 34-year-old to an extension on
When
a
was the
team
trade deadline? In March?
March 7th, I think.
Okay, I'll pull up the numbers just from the entire month of March through April. I'll give you the numbers. Give me a second.
But he's been invisible. Anders Lee, invisible. Casey Zizekas, invisible. JG Pajot, invisible. Horvat's played okay. Engvall has played okay. Holmstrom has been basically invisible also. But, when you got a whole bunch of team of nothings, some of them have to put the pucks in the net.
He's got 8 points, Kyle Palmieri, in the last 17 games.
That's not good enough in my book. That's not good enough.
It's not.
Not if you want an extension. You wouldn't take a second-round draft pick and a prospect for him. You never know what the prospect can be. You never know what a second-round pick can be. You can package second-round picks to move up into the first round. You need more draft capital, more assets to make the team better.
Or
just to turn down a deal because I wasn't getting a high enough level prospect. Well, dude, then you're just a freaking moron. I'm sorry. Because I'm telling you, he's not signing back. I really hope he doesn't, because I'll be pissed off if they sign back a 34-year-old. Why are you re-signing back 34-year-olds when your team is looking to turn over?
Like, you remember Jacob Chikrin, right? That was traded away to Washington. He's played well for Washington. He was traded from Ottawa. They gave up a third-round pick in Nicholas Jensen for Jacob Chikrin. Sometimes guys fall out of favor with teams that have ability and upside. And Jacob Chikrin could have flopped in Washington. He obviously didn't. But you can do things like that if you have the draft picks to pair up with a guy who is like, oh, hey, this is a guy who can contribute. Maybe Ottawa finds value in this. Jacob Chikrin won't sign a long-term deal. He doesn't want to be with them. So we could go ahead and move him. We can give a third-round pick, or we can give a second-round pick and a third as sweeteners to make sure we get that deal done. When you have extra draft capital, you can make things like that happen. What you can't do is use a draft capital and acquire a shitty defensive defenseman who's terrible defensively regarding his positioning, and Alexander Romanov. Those are the things you can't do with those things, with those first-round picks. You could trade them and bring in players who are real true assets. Romanov, waste.
Yeah, Romanov. Frank Nazar starting to look pretty good for Chicago, isn't he?
Well, again, like, you could have picked anybody. Didn't have to be Frank Nazar at that spot.
Well, why would we trade for a high-end offensive player? You're right. Why would we do something like that? But all of a sudden, this kid's putting the puck in the net.
Yeah, he's got 20 points in 47 games this year for them. He's young.
Like Kyle Palmieri. So he's like Kyle Palmieri, in other words, but just 40 years younger. Is that what you're understanding?
That's what I'd say.
Okay. Like I said, I don't believe in anything that he does as general manager. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. He's done nothing that I've approved of in the last 4 or 5 years. Nothing. Josh Bailey. I'm going to say it again. Had a great playoff series. That's when you move a piece of shit like Josh Bailey. Because guess what? He sucked. He always sucked. He was a below average player who shined in the playoffs 1 year. Those are guys you move so you can get big assets for him. You would have got yourself a second, maybe in a third, or maybe even a first. Instead, you had to give up a second to get him off your team. I mean, it's poor asset management. Yeah. Get as many draft picks as you can. Add draft picks up. Hey, we're targeting certain players. Let's take a couple of seconds and a third, move up to the bottom of the first round to pick somebody we really, really like. Instead, we're going to reach for a guy like Simon Holmstrom that you could have had in the second round.
Oh, wow.
You could have had him in the second round. Could have had Connor McMichael, who was your guy.
Wow, we've noticed that Jason Robertson, we had him as a mid-first round pick, and he's dropped all the way to pick number 39 for the Dallas Stars. Man, we like Jason Robertson. Let's go ahead and trade up real quick and give a second and a third so we can jump up early in the second round pick, and we could pick Jason Robertson, our guy.
Does he do that? No.
Oh. But again, it's just like, to be honest with you, I really don't trust him on that side either. And like, I hope the guys we have in our system that we've added and recently acquired pan out.
Yeah. We'll I'm rooting for Callum Ritchie.
I'm rooting for Cole Eiserman. Those are going to have to be the lifeblood of the team.
There was an Oshawa General Brampton game on It's on YouTube from just a couple of days ago in the OHL playoffs. And I'm saying, I got to watch that. But I fell asleep watching it. Actually, the game was actually pretty exciting. They lost. Oshawa lost. But I want to see, how did Callum Ritchie do? But I fell asleep. So I'm going to try to maybe watch some of that tonight.
Have they already been eliminated from the playoffs?
No, they were up 3-2 against Brampton. They could have closed it out. I'm like, and I think Callum Ritchie got third star. Well, that's fine. You lose a game and you still get third star. You had to be pretty good. So, but you know what? If he could turn out to be something, a two-way center who's a number 2 center for your team, that's good. I have no problem with that. You got yourself first-round pick. You're going to have to turn over the roster at some point. You have to do it. I mean, that's a step. Can Cole Eiserman be the guy? He started off really hot, but he's kind of tailed off the second half of the year. Maybe you'd expect that as a freshman. They kind of get a little worn down at the end of the year. That's possible. He's still at least 2 years away.
Yeah.
Danny Nelson. Okay, Danny Nelson's probably going to be a bottom 6 guy.
But my thing is, you're going to need guys who are bottom 6 guys. But that's my thing. We can't be looking at every single one of those guys where it's like, oh man, Danny Nelson, line center. He's a second line guy. That's a masterclass by Lou. And
you have to be able to draft.
Yeah.
You have to be able to identify high-end talent. Braden Point coming out of juniors, the knock on him was couldn't skate. Well, you know what that guy had? Everyone said work ethic. When you got a guy who has work ethic and he works, and now he's a good skater, really good. He worked at it. Maybe Tampa Bay has the right coaches who say, this is what you need to work on, Braden Point. These are the things that we want you to do to get your speed up. Tampa Bay they haven't had a first-round draft pick in how many years, right? Maybe 1 or 2 in how many years? And still, they're one of the top teams in the league. Still. And they've turned they've turned 80% of the roster over. 80%. Remember when they got the Hagel kid? And I said, my gosh, they paid an arm and a leg for Hagel from Chicago.
Terrible selection. I thought
he looked like shit. But you know what? He's turned out to be a player. They know what they're doing in Tampa. They know what they're doing in Florida.
See you later, Steven Stamkos. We're not going to try to bring you back. Hey, go ahead, Barry Trotz. Go overpay Steven Stamkos. We've got no interest in bringing Steven Stamkos back.
Ryan McDonough. We're getting rid of you. We'll cut you, and whoever, some crappy team is going to pick you up, and you're going to be stuck there. Okay, I'll take a trade. And what do? 2 years later, they bring him back, and he's playing fantastic for them. Yanni Gourde leaves as a free agent, goes to Seattle. Absolutely underperforms there. They trade for him and Oliver Bjorkstrand, and those guys are freaking fantastic together. They didn't even play together in Seattle. All of a sudden, now they're a fantastic third line, and it gives them, now they have 3 complete lines on that team. They just know what they're doing.
Yeah,
we don't know what we're doing. That's why I'm saying anyone could be a general manager for the Islanders and do just as good or bad a job as Lou Lamoriello. I know I could do better than him. Absolutely. You want to just know my plans for the defenseman? What I think realistically could happen?
What do you think's going to happen?
Your non-tender Perunovic. Bye-bye.
I don't see them bringing him back.
You do not re-sign Tony DeAngelo.
Really?
Absolutely not. You re-sign Mike Riley to a 1-year deal. I would try to trade Mayfield or Pulak or Pelech. One of those 3 has to go. If Noah Dobson does not take a long-term contract extension, I move him.
Yep, same thing. Agree.
Romanoff, bye-bye. Bye-bye. He sucks. I've never seen a worse defenseman than fucking Romanoff. Never. He's horrible. He's a disaster defensively. When people say Noah Dobson he's got a piece of shit partner. Notice how much better he plays on defense when he's with Pelech. Notice?
Much better.
He knows where his defense partner is. It's laughable if you just watch. And we did it as it was happening live on the game. Like, look at how smooth 2-3 guys come to Dobson. He makes the right pass. He can fight for the puck. He dishes. He knows what he's doing. When he has a defensive partner who's just reckless, that's when the turnovers come. When he's got Pelech out there, man, he looks pretty good all of a sudden. Yeah, no kidding, because he has a partner who he can work with. When you're stuck with Chara or Green or Boychuk or Romanoff, you're not gonna be able to show as good as you can be. You just can't.
Wow. Do you want to know in the same exact time frame, how many games was it in the same time frame? What was it? I think Palmieri played 18 games or so. Do you want to take a guess what Dobson's production was over the same exact time frame from beginning of March until current? Now, again, he was injured. It wasn't like he was playing injured. He got his knee bent and folded up on. But after that point, they changed up his partner. They changed up his defensive pairing. And do you want to take a guess what his productions look like, Grumpy, since the beginning of March?
15 points.
No, not 15 points in 18 games.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Talking 18 games for a defenseman.
10.
Let me just add it
You
here.
should have had that ready.
13 points.
Okay, you poo-pooed when I said 15. You poo-pooed me. It's like 13 and 15 are pretty freaking close.
Well, motherfucker, you're supposed to undersell it, so it's like, wow, he did even better than what we thought. You're not supposed to overshoot.
You ask me a question, I give you an answer what I think.
13 points, though. More points in that span than Kyle Palmieri, the
No
forward.
kidding. He's a better player than Kyle Palmieri.
But again, it's just like it's one of those things where it's like he started off the season poor with a slow start, and the second half of the year he's picked it up and he's played really well. And again, this is a guy who is consistent. He missed multiple games this year. He's still going to put up over 40 points again this year, despite being paired with multiple defense pairings, despite again our team being hideous on the power play. Very limited power play production, and he's been there, but I mean, he's played much better as of recent. And it's just like, this guy's still a 40-point-a-year guy, even with a bad year.
And also, I tender Boquist. I absolutely tender Boquist. Absolutely. And turn him into a winger. Because the best he's looked is when he played as a forward for a couple of games. He looked really good.
13 points in 17 games for Dobson. It's and people are still bitching and moaning and complaining. Oh, he's Slopson. He's maybe the worst defenseman I've ever seen. It's just like, okay, sure. Again, we're watching different games.
They have a bias against him. They don't look at the little things he does. They just don't.
Yeah, not wrong. They're not wrong. Anyway, let's go ahead and read our ad, then Grumpy. Then you're going to start reading some comments here. But today's podcast is brought to you by DraftKings. This NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. Nobody knows where it's going, but that just means that there's time for your favorite team to figure things out. And games left for you to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win a game. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app and select your team and place your first bet. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers can bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code THPN. Again, that's promo code THPN for new customers. Get $150 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available. If you have a gambling problem, call 888-79-77-77 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of the Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Must be 21 years or older, but age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only, and bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, visit dkng.com/audio.
Very nice, TJ. Let's get to some comments. What do you say?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and get some comments. JP Grumpy.
Good evening, hosts and crew. You know, the Leafs have goalies this year, presuming the deck isn't completely stacked for the Southern U.S. teams in the tournament. Could this actually be their year? No, absolutely not. No.
You don't think the Leafs can, Grumpy?
Nope. They better hope they win. They better hope they win division. Because if they don't win division, they're losing in the first round. I don't care who they play.
It's so tough of a division. It's super tough. It's a super tough division in the Atlantic.
Could you honestly see whoever wins Tampa and Florida? I think it's going to be Tampa. Tampa and Florida win the Stanley Cup this year. I could absolutely see that.
Wouldn't it be great to see Tampa win again?
It would.
I don't hate Tampa, despite them knocking us out twice in the Eastern Conference Finals just many years ago. But I just like to see greatness.
Yep.
And if I could see continued greatness like that, I'm happy. As a fan, I aspire for our team to be like that. I'd be happy to watch greatness like that continue.
I just label, Carolina they never win games in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't give a shit. At least they make the Eastern Conference Finals every year. At least they make the playoffs every single year.
You know what, guys? Maybe we need to slow our road a little bit. Maybe if we got back to, Eastern Conference every single year and we got our asses kicked, you know what? That's a little bit of a problem. But as soon as we started to do that during the COVID years, we have never been back since. So maybe we should keep a little quiet in that.
JP adds, only thing I'm certain of is if you want to come into contact with championship caliber Islanders in 2025, you need to go to Prince Edward Island. LOL.
There it is. What's up, Matthew? How are you? Charles Dittmer.
Good evening, guys. When's the call-in show? Grumpy, remember this? Call rates are cheaper this time of night. Absolutely. They're used to TJ, you aware of that to make like long distance calls, if you called after a certain time, the rates were cheaper, like after 10.
Yeah.
But if you called on prime time hours, they charged you more. Now a long distance call is nothing. It's like, some of us older folks, do we need to put a 1 in front of that for those things? You don't have to do that anymore.
No, I didn't have to pay for long distance calls, Grumpy. Tim J.
Well, that's because you're under my phone.
We're going to do a call-in show. Well, you don't have to pay for long-distance calls. We're going to do a call-in show at the end of the season. We promise there will be a call-in show. I promise there will be a call-in show. There will be maybe 1 or maybe 2 more call-in shows this year, I will say, or at least this offseason. Tim J. Grumpy.
The end of this horrible season is near. Lou, do us a favor and resign. Just go away. I just hate when – we can't fire him. He's I don't care. It's going to be 83 years old. He can't even manage his what's this that you use for stools? What is that you use? For
Duclair or
Muralax. He can't even manage his prescription for Muralax. Can't even do that.
Oof.
Gotta go. You know what? You were good 25 years ago. No doubt about it. You were a good GM. That's a long time ago.
I got a quick question for you, Grumpy. And we'll get back to comments. Where do you think Noah Dobson ranks this year in points amongst all Islanders?
I think he's in 4th or 5th place. 5th place, maybe.
He's in 6th place right now. He's tied for 6th.
Okay.
Despite missing games. Now, I'll say this. Over the last 2 years, he's got the 3rd most points out of all Islanders. Brock Nelson and Bo Horvat being the 2 over top of him. But again, like you talk about a guy who's consistently, usually top 5 in points, and he could still pass Simon Holmstrom the way he's playing currently, unless Simon gets a few more empty net goals and empty net assists. Maybe Holmstrom stays a little bit above him. But again, the problem is not Noah Dobson.
It's not.
The problem is not Sorokin.
Nope.
Those are not your problems. The problems are long and vast, and those, when we're looking at problems, they're very low on the list.
It's easy to blame the best players on the team for why your team's not very good.
Yep.
The real reason the team isn't very good is because the general manager is just not very good.
Yes. Next comment here, Charles Dittmer.
And here we go, ruining our draft placement. That's absolutely Islanders 101. Right now we're in 10th. And it's like, okay, maybe if they get lucky, win the lottery. I mean, I don't, it's a bad draft. It's this, that's the other thing. The Higgins kid is now dropped to being 4th in projections. But, maybe you get lucky and your ping pong balls bounces your way. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. I don't like the way the NHL does it, where the worst team in the league only gets a 25% chance of having the 1st overall pick. That's just wrong. Yes. It should be at least 50%.
It should be the entire. I don't like the draft lottery ever. Whatever team's the worst gets it. Simple.
Well, yeah, I mean, some teams just suck. But you look at Boston; they're obviously in tank mode.
Good.
And then they know. It's like
I'd rather be a Boston fan right now than an Islander fan.
Me too.
They have the direction. That's my thing. We're directionless still. Do we realistically think? Yeah, we're rudderless. We're directionless in this time period. I want to put this up here real quick on screen. Now, this is something we haven't talked about yet, but we'll mention it now. Ovechkin has tied the goal record with Gretzky.
Oh, that's getting broken tomorrow.
Now we play tomorrow against the Washington Capitals at a matinee game.
I have told Phil for a month, I said, he's breaking that record against the Islanders, and it's going to be on an endless freaking loop forever. You're going to see him scoring that goal to break the record against the Islanders. Get ready for it. Get ready. He's absolutely scoring that goal tomorrow. No doubt in my mind.
Did you know the last record-breaking goal that Brett Gretzky scored, I believe, was against the Islanders?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was 1981. Oh, no, maybe it's the Flyers. I'm sorry. I don't know. I should have come more prepared. My apologies. No, it was against the Flyers. Okay, gotcha. Empty netter against the Flyers.
When he broke Gordie Howe's record?
Oh, maybe that was the most goals in a single season. I have to do some research. I thought I saw something on that online. Somebody in the comments, if you saw that too, help save my ass because I did not come prepared. I thought it was against an Islander goalie, but maybe I'm wrong. But he does play, right? Ovechkin's going to be playing against Sorokin tomorrow. You think he's going to get the goal?
I guarantee it. You can go to DraftKings and make that bet.
It's a grumpy guarantee.
Guaranteed. Maybe Sorokin will do like a Brett Favre for Michael Strahan sack record thing. Yeah, go ahead, just walk in and score. That's cool.
We play the Capitals, and then we play on Tuesday. We play the Predators.
That'll be a win. They'll win against the Predators.
We'll be playing the Rangers. They'll be playing their third game in 4 nights. Then we've got the Flyers, the Devils, the Capitals, and the Blue Jackets. But at this point, we're essentially mathematically almost eliminated from the playoffs. It's all but said and done.
Absolutely.
How many games do you think the Islanders win down the stretch to absolutely ruin their draft pick?
I think they'll win 4 more games.
Out of the last 7?
Yeah.
What do you think the record's going to be? 4-2-1?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be something like that too. And it's just going to be like, oh, hey, we were at 10th. The teams around us continue to lose, so now we're drafted to the 13th spot. Oh, wouldn't that just be awful?
Terrible. How many years do we have? We saw that all the time in the 1990s and 2000s. I'm done with it. I'm just done with that. Look at other teams. Buffalo. You notice who's the worst team in the Eastern Conference right now?
Boston. Now, they did beat Carolina. They beat the brakes off of Carolina today.
Do you remember where Boston was at the time of the trade deadline?
In a playoff spot.
I think they were ninth.
Okay.
But
hovering around a playoff spot.
They have lost. After winning today, they had lost 11 in a row before winning today. 11 in a row. It's hard to lose 11 games in a row. It's hard. St. Louis has won 12 in a row. That's hard to do as well.
St. Louis is damn good. Damn good.
Who's the team that really suffers the most?
What do you mean?
From Dallas. Or I'm sorry. Who's in first place in that division? Vegas. If you're Vegas, do you want to play St. Louis? Absolutely not.
Yeah, St. Louis is going to be the first wild card team. Yeah, it's going to be that. Yeah, they're going to be playing Vegas. Oof, it's going to be Vegas or the Kings. Now you kind of look at it and you say, shit, if I'm the Vegas, do I try to tank, to try to go ahead and maybe fall to second? You're still playing Edmonton. But just the Western Conference is so much tougher than the Eastern Conference.
Edmonton seems like they have kind of fallen off the map since McDavid and Draisaitl got hurt. Draisaitl's back, but they're bad. And they're not winning. Last year they got to the finals. There's no way they're making it to the finals this year. No way.
McDavid, the best player who's ever laced a pair of skates up, was going to do it, Grumpy. Don't worry. They're going to do it. Don't you worry, Grump. But yeah, I'm telling you, the Blues, think about it, 93 points. In the Central Division, they're going to be a wild card team. Think about that.
If the Islanders were in the West, they'd already be eliminated. They've 89 points. They could not catch. They'd already be eliminated.
They've got 77 points. They've got
76 points.
70. You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm looking at it right now.
76 points, whatever it is. Yes, we'd be almost mathematically eliminated. Christopher C. Grumpy.
Oh, sorry, Christopher C. I was looking at the Islanders standings there. I'm surprised so many Islanders fans are bandwagoning. They want Ovechkin to score in our house. That'll be a complete embarrassment. We can't go easy on him. I want to win.
Christopher, I will respectfully disagree. I want to lose every game in the remainder of the season to get a better draft pick.
I don't think anyone is rooting for him to score against us. I just think he's going to.
I am not rooting for him to score against us, but I think he will score against us.
And you're going to watch it forever.
Yeah. You know what, though? That's a little bit Islanders history.
Do you think him scoring as many goals as he scored greater than Gretzky's goal scoring?
He's a much better pure goal scorer than Gretzky, yes.
I also think the goaltending is better now than it was back then.
1,000,000 times better than what it was.
The butterfly style was not even invented.
I get it. They were playing with shittier sticks, but man, I mean, the goalies, you could score from the blue line just shooting a wrister at goalies back then. You don't do that now. Well, most times you don't do that now. Good.
Will we look back at this season as merely an unredeeming pile of poop? Is Phil's Facts always on the lookout for a scoop? Get used to it. This is right now. We told you when the wheels finally came off, it was going to be a while. The longer that Lamoriello refuses to admit that this team needs a total rebuild, the longer the rebuild is going to be.
The fall from grace is hard and fast, as I used to mention many years ago, and continue to mention now.
I was trying to cue you up for it. There you go.
Fall from grace is long. It's the longer you wait. We've talked about it. You could have augmented a quicker restructure to the organization. I don't like retool, rebrand, whatever you want to call it. You're restructuring your organization. You could have done it on the fly on a quicker rate if you were proactive. We're many years late. You can't do a Washington at this point.
Too late now.
We've got Bo Horvat and Matt Barzal and Sorokin. And here's the thing: by the time period you start augmenting those pieces, Bo Horvat's already in his 30s. Sorokin's 30 next year. Matt Barzal's 28 next year.
And just to let you know, the reason Washington is also an anomaly. Everything they did last offseason, everything they did worked. Everything.
TJ Oshie retired due to injury, so it freed up cap space for him. Nicholas Backstrom never played again, so it freed up cap space for him. You see, like so many things went right for Washington. It's not something where you could say, great, I can plug and play and do the Washington playbook. Tough. Very tough.
Pierre-Luc Dubois for Darcy Kemper.
Yep, and both players, Darcy Kemper's been great for the Kings. And guess what? Pierre-Luc Dubois has been great for the Washington Capitals. We talked about it. Great move by them. They dumped the guy who was miserable in net for them. They picked up Logan Thompson for nothing from Vegas, right, Grum?
Yep.
And he's great for them.
He's only lost, I think, 4 or 5 games all year long.
Or he hasn't picked up points in 4 or 5 games. He's lost more than 4 or 5 games, but he hasn't picked up points in only 4 or 5 games all year long. He's at least picked up a loser point or won the game, and every time he's played but 4 or 5 times this year.
He's been pretty darn good. That's all I got to say. He's been pretty darn good.
Spectacular. But it's like everything they've done has worked out. Jacob Chikrin for a 3rd-round pick and Nick Jensen. Rasmus Sandin, 1st-round pick. But that's what I mean. When you acquire those players and you start trading away and picking up draft capital, you can get young players like that who are on shitty squads that are still in a rebuild that are like, oh, this guy doesn't want to sign back with us. You can trade for players like that.
They bought and sold at the same time Washington did 2 years ago.
Yep. We talked about it at the time saying Washington knows what they're doing. They're starting to restructure. They're smart. And it does help that they do have a first ballot Hall of Famer, the silver-haired fox there in Alexander Ovechkin. It does help that they've got a future first ballot Hall of Famer.
And he has absolutely reinvigorated his game this year. Absolutely.
Yep. You're 100% right. And again, even you look at it you still have guys like John Carlson. John Carlson's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer too. As a defenseman, when you put up, again, he's 35 years old. Wow, he's 35. But you put up 724 points as a defenseman, and you've got a Stanley Cup, and you've played well in your career, John Carlson's going to be a Hall of Famer. You've got multiple Hall of Famers on that. You think John Carlson doesn't make the Hall of Fame?
I don't know his numbers.
He's played 1,085 games. He has 724 points as a defenseman. He's a plus. I'm sorry, it doesn't do the plus minus breakdown here, but he's been spectacular as a pro. Again, on his career, he does have 2-time All-Star winners or 2-time All-Star guy. He's a plus 108 on his career, and he's got 724 career points. I think that's grumpy. I think that's a guy.
I'm listening.
I'm in here. Okay, TJ Frenzy.
What's up, guys? You just know Ledecky and Malkin are foaming at the mouth after seeing ticket prices for tomorrow's games. What are the ticket prices going for, TJ? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, about $300 a piece.
$300 a piece. People want to see history. I don't blame them.
Yep, absolutely. You get Grumpy Frank.
Screw that. I don't want Ovi to score on us. I didn't say I wanted to. I just said he's gonna. When was the last time he didn't score? He's like scored how many games in a row now?
Not sure.
You know what winners do? They really smell the finish line, don't they?
He's spectacular. Greatest goal scorer that's ever lived. Nick D.
Grumpy, TJ, how you guys doing tonight? I just can't believe that there are fans out there that are willing to give Lou another year and to fire Lou. Willing to give Lou another year and to fire Lou. We all know the real problem is Lou Lamoriello. Absolutely. No doubt about it. You don't make Tommy Bappy said if they didn't make the playoffs, he was getting fired. Didn't he say that?
Yeah, not sure. Well, I'm sorry. I was way off. I was way off on the ticket prices. They've gone up a lot since I guess he scored his 2 goals. I'll give you the update here. This is by Will. Let's put this up. Oh, no, this is by Chris Johnson. Alexander Ovechkin chasing history. There will only be a handful of resale tickets available for Sunday afternoon's Caps Islanders game at UBS Arena for less than $2,000.
I mean, considering most Islander fans who have tickets don't go to the games anyway.
Tailgate standing room only, $1,200.
I'm sorry.
Look at this. Look at this shit.
Have you noticed, TJ, we watched some games when you were here. How empty was the stands?
Empty. This is the same thing with when the Rangers played the Islanders. Oh, great. Hey, we're going to get a packed house.
Wow.
People want to see Ovechkin break and beat the living shit out of the Islanders and score a goal. That's what they want to see. Think about that.
Yesterday, I bought a single ticket for $150. Well, that's pretty good. Today, the ticket next to me is $13.34. Well, you know what I would do? Honestly, I'd sell that ticket.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Why would you not sell that ticket?
Yeah, I would too.
What about the person who sold it for $150? Like, man, I screwed up.
Yeah, I was about to say, they probably like, great, man, I made extra money on my ticket. Who's the hell selling their ticket for $11,454?
They're not going to sell that ticket.
No,
that ticket's not getting sold.
The Bleeds are even charging $1,000 for a ticket.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yikes.
Like I said, the stadium's usually half empty.
Yeah.
Everyone's at concessions. No, they're not. They're just.
What does it matter if Ovechkin scores and breaks the record against the Islanders? You'll always see that. The Islander fans have that where it's just like it pisses, like the same thing like the fish sticks. Oh man, I hate the fish sticks because our team was so bad. It'd be one of those things that the fucking fan base
like the jersey
about, like the jersey. That's right. Just like they get upset every time they see Ovechkin score and it's against us, and they just hate it.
I'll never forget the night that they unveiled the Islanders jersey. I think it was at the end of the season or something like that. ESPN was doing it. Bill Clement, and one of the second period intermission, I think, is look at this new Islander jersey, man. That's a great uniform. Everybody's going to want these. I did. I love the Fisherman jersey. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't understand that mentality. I mean, is the Islander logo really that great?
No. It's a good logo, but like I do love the retro.
I don't hate it, but I mean, you're right, TJ. I don't understand the absolute hatred of the Fisherman jersey. I never did.
It's new, it's different, and it's like we just immediately shoved it aside. That's why I'm like, you know what? Bring it back. Bring it back. Okay, I do want to pull this up here. Now, this was a tweet that was made out. This guy writes for the Hockey News, and I'll pull this up. I cannot disagree more. But I want to go ahead and show this because somebody sent this to me and they said, oh, hey, for context or for awareness, because this would not cross my path. Truth time for Isles Nation. While some of the criticism for Lou Lamoriello is warranted.
I already hate it.
While some of the criticism for Lou Lamoriello is warranted, most of the time it goes way too far. It wasn't all that long ago the prospect pool was very barren with guys like Ratu and DeFore as the best they had. Now, Lou has restocked it with guys like Danny Nelson, Cole Iserman, and Callum Ritchie, and is about to add a very likely top 10 pick and now have 2 first-rounders likely in 2026. On top of that, the team is going to be armed with roughly 29 to 30 million in cap space this offseason. That's not even counting guys like Pajot, Mayfield, and Engvall, and more that can't more being moved to create even more space. As the kids say these days, Lou is about to cook.
Okay, who's the person who's writing this?
Anthony.
I have no reason to follow Anthony. He's just a moron. This is going to happen. No, dude, you don't know what's going to happen. His thing, I guarantee you he's not moving all those guys this offseason. That much you could book it.
Okay. I love how he's like restocked it with Danny Nelson.
Danny Nelson.
In college, his second year, he's not even close to a point a game guy. He's a bottom 6 forward. I don't have a problem with that. You're talking about restocking the cupboards with a bottom 6 forward. Are we in the same planet here? Same
Cole Eiserman is at least 2 years away.
That's correct. And maybe he works out, maybe he doesn't.
Callum
He's
Ritchie,
a really good team.
Callum Ritchie next year is going to be third line center.
You think he's going to be third line center? I don't think.
He's not going to be a second line center. He's just not.
I don't think he'll even be up with the team next year.
I think he'll absolutely be up with the team next year.
Really?
Absolutely, he's going to be up with the team. 100% going to be up with the team. He'll be third line center, though. And that's where he should be. You break in a kid in, he's going to be 21 years old? Yes. You put him on the third line. That's okay. That's okay. I mean, why would you put him on the second line?
29 to 30 million in cap space. As the kids say, it's time to let Lou cook. Yeah. Here's the thing, Anthony.
Pajot is going to be second line center next year.
Well, here's the thing. You're going to sign back Noah Dobson to a long-term deal? He's going to cost a pretty penny.
You know what? If I'm him, I'm waiting.
Yeah, I am too. Because if I'm not getting paid what I know my prior production is, especially the way I'm playing down the stretch, yeah, no. The other thing we haven't even mentioned, do we think Patrick Waugh will be back as head coach next season?
Haven't the wheels kind of come off on him lately?
Oh, he's supposed to be the GM, Grumpy. You told me that this offseason. He's supposed to be the replacement GM.
But that doesn't, you know what? Maybe he thought that Lamoriello would be gone by next year.
Lamoriello's going nowhere.
Well,
I tell you this all the time. Lamoriello's going nowhere.
That's on ownership. I'm just exasperated from where we are as a team because I don't think we're going to do anything. Here's the thing. I want them to do some things in the offseason. I don't think we are, but I absolutely want them to do certain things in the offseason. Every year I have a plan. It never works out because, we'd be a better team.
Until Lou is gone, nothing will ever work in the way it needs to. Lou is an 82-year-old man, and just from his own viewpoint, why the fuck would he want to rebuild? Like, he's an 82-year-old guy. He doesn't care about what the team looks like 10 years from now. He cares about what they're doing right now. We would all be the same way. If you're in charge of one of the big, oh, great, I'm in charge of an NHL franchise as a GM and head of hockey operations, and I'm 82 years old, I'm not concerned with what the team's going to look like when I'm 92. I want to try to win a Stanley Cup now.
He should not even be there.
That's correct. If you're not also fostering the future of the team, and you can at least play devil's advocate, you can't be there as a GM.
Is it legal for him to drive a vehicle in some states?
No, he could still drive, I'm sure. Who knows how much driving he's doing? He's getting older. But seriously, and I don't blame him, but why would he care about the team 5 and 10 years from now when he's maybe 92 years old? He's not going to be the GM I hope he's not the GM at 92 years old. But again, when you're given the role for, GM for the Islanders, you tend to stay here for like 10 to 20 years.
So a team never wins. There's a reason. Yeah. There's a reason. Just like there's a reason Anthony Duclair's on 9 teams in 11 years.
But to bring it back, do you think Patrick Waugh comes back next year? Is he brought back? I think he's gone.
I think he's coming back.
You think he's coming back?
Unless he doesn't want to come back.
I don't know why he would want to come back. He's tying himself to the shit squad. Because seriously, that's what it is. You think they're going to be better next year than this year?
No.
We're going to be much more healthy, though, Grump.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Andersley bringing back Kyle Palmieri. Oh, yeah. Like,
Here's the, everyone in the league shakes their heads. They're like, what? Why?
yeah. I wanted to bring that up. That's something we have to. That's going to be something we talk about more. Is like, hey, what do we think from Patrick Waugh? But again, like I could see how him and maybe Lou butt heads a bit, but maybe they don't. What's up, Ponyboy Curtis? How are you doing? Here you go. Nick D said Gill brought up a stat. Waugh has more losses than Lane Lambert when Lane was fired. Yeah.
It doesn't matter who the coach is.
Lane Lambert. Oh, Lane's a bad coach. He's hideous. He's awful. He's this. Everybody just wants to point the finger at the easy potential problem. It was easy to point at the head coach. Now what are you going to do? People are already starting to point the finger now at Patrick Waugh again. But I'm like, how many head coaches can you point the finger at until you run out of fingers to point at the head coach?
Does anyone look at the players and the roster put together by the old man?
Well, now it's easy just to say the guys that we're expecting, no one needs to be a guy who puts up 70 to 80 points as a defenseman every single year. Is that really the expectation we have from Noah Dobson? Matt Barlow to be a point a game guy plus. Okay, gotcha. Fantastic. Soroka needs to have a 920 save percentage. That's what we're expecting from all the guys. Huh?
Right. We have to have the best players at each position for the team to be competitive for a playoff spot. There's no Connor McDavid walking through the door.
Ponyboy Curtis said, to be fair to both of you guys, almost every season flip-flop on whether or not this team will make the playoffs, anywhere from 7 to 14 times. No, I think I was very consistent.
I have it.
Yeah. Oh, maybe he meant to say you got. Oh, I don't think we do. I always said at the beginning of the year, and I still believe this, the team is probably slightly above average, and I think they probably have a chance to make the postseason. They did make the postseason this year, but they're slightly above average, or they're right at average. So right in the same spot.
I predict them
at the end of the year, no shot to make the postseason. Simple.
I predict them to not make the playoffs the last 3 years. They made it 2 years, and did it matter? Nope.
Goon.
Any chance of Lou Lamoriello being shipped off to Mars this offseason? Grumpy, give us a reason. No, he's not going. I don't think they're sending him out into space.
JP says Lou is the bust. Fire Lou Lamoriello yesterday.
True.
He says, it drives me crazy that the Lamanites are willing to give the donkey Lou a fourth coach. Think about that.
No, can't do it.
Hey, he got the wrong pick in Lane Lambert. He got the wrong pick in Patrick Waugh. I think he's going to get the right pick now with the new head coach.
He won't.
I'll put this up, Nick D, here. Thanks for the reminder. Podcast reminder. Fire Lou Lamoriello and his son immediately. Hey, Grumpy. Ponyboy Curtis. I think we may have already covered this, but I need to pull up something real quick.
Can you guys give a full breakdown analysis of Roy shredding?
Waugh
yes, we did that.
Okay, gotcha. That's Otto. That's that cat's name. Otto. MAGA says Grumpy.
We haven't won a playoff round in a non-COVID season since 2019. That was against the Florida Panthers.
Oh man. Have you seen people recently there's been a lot of hatred passed the way of Chris Lamoriello as of recent. And I'll put this up. I'll tell you one thing. The Bridgeport Islanders have been miserable. God almighty. I think there was somewhere else I had this maybe posted, but as a whole, Chris Lamoriello run teams have been absolutely hideous as a GM of any AHL team and any AHL franchise.
Like father and son.
It's been absolutely awful. Oh, okay, here it is. Okay, this is it. And there was a graphic with it too, so I need to get the graphic. But this is by the same guy, Joey, who posted this. He says, of the last 25 AHL seasons, Chris Lamoriello has been the GM of the AHL's worst team 5 of those seasons, 3 times in Jersey and twice with the Islanders. He's the current GM of perhaps the worst AHL team in the millennia. Generational incompetence. He has been with 2 different organizations and has been the worst AHL team 5 of the last 25 years.
It's hard to do. It's hard to be consistently pathetic. He doesn't, again, like father, like son. Think about it.
Awful. Polymasta Grump.
Honestly, is there any team in the league worse than us with free agent signings? I don't know, but we're right at the bottom. Everyone we signed never pans out. Duclair needing time off in his first year of his contract just shows he quit. He's a quitter. He's a quitter. Got to go. Got to go.
Yep.
Got to go. Got to go. Just that plain and simple. Got to go. Nick D says, I was listening to Paul's podcast. He didn't want to know that Lou will be 83 in October. He thinks that Lou is better than some GMs that are in their 60s. I mean, he's maybe better than Mike Greer, but that's about it. No, he's done nothing. All he does is he just makes things worse. He thinks it's the 1980s and the 1990s. That's what he thinks. That's what he thinks.
You know what we forgot to mention real quick, Grumpy? And our show, and we'll just mention it briefly because I thought it was an important thing to mention. Do you remember a few games ago on March 24th when we lost to the Wild and all the Islander fans were crashing out, having a pissy fit because Kyle Palmieri got called for goaltender interference. And it wasn't real goaltender interference. And all the fans started fucking freaking out online. Oh, my God. I just was like, the point I had was, man, because you missed out on potentially 1 point in the regular season, you're losing your collective minds because you know that every point matters, especially when you're this destitute and low in the standings. But I'm like, Christ, think about that. 1 point causes the entire fan base to have a conniption because we can miss the playoffs because they screwed us over on a call. I'm like, you're going to get the calls sometimes. You're going to not get the calls sometimes. That's how it works over an 82-game season.
The bottom line is team's just not very good. So just come to the realization team's just not very good. Look at the way we score goals. You ever notice? The other team will be dominating us. All of a sudden, there'll be a break or a bad pass. You'll see it kick out. All of a sudden, 2-on-1, bang, goal. That's it. Or just they have a 3-on-2 rush, or there's some wild scramble in front. 2 guys bump into the goalie. Then they back off, bang, puck goes in the net. Goal Islanders. They're not even fun to watch. They're not an entertaining product. They're just not.
No.
Just
whatever it is.
Personally, I'm hoping that they put in Hogberg to allow in the most monumental NHL goal for any of our lifetimes, or so do I.
It will be the most monumental NHL goal that happens.
What are you going to hear if Sorokin gives up the goal from Phil?
Oh my God, he's so bad.
Should have stopped that. How come he didn't stop that? Why not?
Well, I did have something I want to show you, Grumpy. This was from a shootout attempt. And my question was, what do we think maybe the issue was here with the groin? I do want to dissect this, Grumpy, because I do think the groin is having a nagging pain there, Grumpy. Let's watch this here. This is in the shootout attempt against Columbus. Oh, no. Oh, how do you not even get a fucking shot off in a shootout attempt? I'm just like, things like that. It's just like, where's the attention to detail, man? Just fuck. I'm sorry. Again, quitting on the team. Oh, I want to put this up, Grumpy.
Most points by a defenseman, NHL in regular season for the playoffs. And Noah Dobson is at 7th place.
And now he just passed Pulak. So he packs Pulak and Janssen. Yes.
So he's 5th.
5th all time for Islanders defensemen in points.
Think
about that.
He's 25 years old. He's 25.
And the fucking fan base tries to berate this kid. He's 5th all time in the history of the Islanders since 1972. 50 fucking years. He's 5th all time at the age of 25 years old. And this is a guy we want to try to put a whole bunch of blame and issues on. Please fucking stop.
If he stays here long-term and signs a long-term extension, he'll be 2nd.
Yes. He'll never pass Dennis Poffin, but he'll absolutely be 2nd.
Yeah. He's already halfway to 2nd place.
25. Fuck. I did, again, just fans just like to ignore that, but I did love that. I did find this funny too. I want to put this up. So this was something I saw when we were, again, when I was away on break. This is the fewest power play goals in a season for teams who made the playoffs in an 82-game regular season. I know that sounds very wordy and verbose, but again, I'll read that one more time. This is the fewest amount of power play goals scored by a team that made the playoffs in an 82-game regular season. The Islanders scored the least amount of power play goals ever recorded in an 82-game regular season. In the 2022-2023 season and made the playoffs, that was 25 goals. Then the Islanders are tied for the second least amount of power play goals scored in the 2018-2019 season with 33 and still made the postseason. And you'll see down below, the Islanders this year only had 21 power play goals. And I just thought to myself, oh man, wouldn't it just be great if the Islanders made the playoffs again, but they had the worst, second worst, and third least amount of power play goals ever scored to make the postseason? Wouldn't that just be just kind of like great? It would be ironic almost.
Well, we don't need to worry about that.
All under Lou Lamoriello. Think about this. All of these hideous power play production, 2022-23, 2018-19, and this year have all been under Lou Lamoriello as the general manager. And our power play has been inept ever since he's been here.
We don't need to worry about that. That's all I'm saying. We don't need to worry about that.
Here.
Maga says we very likely will go into a 10-year demise before we make the playoffs again. It's very possible. Very possible.
We're gonna be a long time until we're competitive. And like we may squeak into the playoffs, but we won't be competitive, if that makes sense.
We haven't been competitive for how many years now? 4 years already?
Long
Non-competitive.
time. The Islanders had like 11 defensemen at one point this year. Yeah. Hey, Grump. Nick D.
Maybe TJ can start a GoFundMe page so we can donate to advertise on a billboard that says file Lou Lamoriello and his son.
I do like how his son's getting a lot of that heat now too. Goon.
Will Anthony D one day be looked back upon as the Bobby Bonilla? Bobby Bonilla is Bucky's worthy of the hype. Bucky's is not worthy of the hype, and Bobby Bonilla was a way better baseball player than Anthony Duclair is a hockey player. Way better. No comparison.
I want to put this up just so everybody can. We don't really pay much and cover much of the AHL team, but I want to go ahead and drop this. This is by Patrick Williams here at the AHL. Look at this. Now this is a few days ago, so I'm sure it's a little worse than this now. But the Bridgeport Islanders dropped a 4-1 decision against the Lehigh Valley today, which means that the Bridgeport Islanders have to win their final 4 home games to avoid setting a new AHL record for the worst home win or the fewest home wins in a season. They're 4-24, 1-3 at home.
What is that? Why are there 4? Why are there 4 things now?
I don't fucking know. Look at this. Jesus, I'll tell you, the Bridgeport.
What is that? What is that?
I don't know. Maybe one game was just canceled or postponed due to
Maybe
weather.
overtime loss and shootout loss or something. I don't know.
Long story short, not good. That's what I will tell you. 4-27 at home. That's what you could take away from that. Offer sheets almost never happen. Absolutely, Ryan P. Again, Grumpy loves to live by that. It's just very rare that it happens. Top free agents never sign with the Islanders, said Brad. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Put Curtis says, TJ, is Patrick Waugh still a good motivator or not the best X's and O guy? This has been at least 2 podcasts since you've regurgitated that soundbite. You could probably have said it 6 to 7 times tonight. I only said it once, but yes, it's still all is true. That's all I'm going to say. Does Duclair get bought out of the offseason? I think they mutually terminate the contract, Grump.
I hope so. Here's the thing. I don't want him on the team. There's no way you can bring him back. No way.
Okay. Funny about Curtis, Grump. He said, okay. Got to read that one. Drew says here, Leonard's best years were under the Trotz system. Same with Farley. With how good they did, they had nothing to do with their skill as goalies. It was a system that they played in. Yep.
Very true.
Good.
Has there ever been an NHL team as feeble at holding a lead as the Islanders? Is Lou Lamoriello as ancient as a Highlander? I don't know.
Not as ancient as a Highlander, but yes, the Islanders have blown a lot of third period leads, and we've started to do that again. Just typical, right?
Yep. But they did. We need an offense as we don't have an offense and more improvement on the defense. Sorokin is a great goalie, but sometimes unreliable.
I think he he's not a goalie who survives off his positioning. He's an athletic and acrobatic goalie, and we're a team that what we start crowding everybody in front of the net. So what do teams do? Okay, we're just going to launch shots on you and try to redirect it into the net. So your goalie doesn't have enough time to react, and that's how it's going to go in the net. It's not going to win it. Like that's not suited for him. Bigger goalies like a Jake Ottinger absorb more of the net on that side, but it's just like, just don't do it. He's not going to be successful like that when you let guys crowd him and you let guys just get in his face like that and redirect pucks without any sort of retribution in front of the net. It's not going to be successful that way.
True. David DeJesu says, good evening, gents. Why would we want another Mitch Marner? He's another center.
Grumpy. Fantastic. Never turns the volume off.
It was Sun X. It was Sun X. He's another center. He's soft and a passer first. He'll cost us $11 to $12 million at least. I'm looking at Brock 2.0 or something similar to the players on the wing. The biggest problem is Lou will have to be making decisions. Lou will make only one move this offseason and see his shadow like a groundhog.
Yes, I don't disagree. Grumpy, as always, not prepared. But yes, I'll say this. They're going to make very minimal moves. I think the move is going to be like, hey, we're moving a defenseman simply because we have the sheer amount of defensemen we have. It's going to be minor moves. So it's like, oh, hey, we brought him in a bottom six guy here. We moved away a bottom pairing defenseman or a healthy scratch as a defenseman. That's what's going to happen. Yeah. So Rob says here, let's get rid of the injury-prone Matt Barzal. Matt Barzal ain't in his prime anymore.
Who's trading for Matt Barzal in that contract?
Yeah.
Just not happening.
What period of the game does Ovi crack the record? Can you imagine if Ovi hits a slump and it gets pushed to next season? Does Ovi retire after this year? I think Ovechkin, if they make a long enough playoff push, I could see him retiring. You don't think he retires after this year?
Nope. No way.
Okay.
No way.
Okay.
The team's good again. Gungu says, if Palmieri flees, is it a fireable offense? Is the vibe inside the Grumpy Mansion right now the best described as tense? No, I don't think so.
I think it's tense for Grumpy right now.
Not tense for me.
Did they come back and score? Grumpy's a big Duke fan. My God, Duke is. I've been keeping an update, Grumpy. What happened? Did Duke score or no?
They're down by a point.
With the ball at the last possession.
Houston's fouling all the time, and they're just not calling it. Really aggressive, and they're up by a point. 17 seconds left. Duke has the ball. They called a foul on Flag where he was manhandled by two guys, and they called it on him somehow. I don't know. Got to hit your free throws. All Proctor has to do is hit free throws. Hit free throws, you win games. David Justice's top players want to do things. One, win consistently every year. Two, make the most money. Unless drafted, here a player will consider on staying. Well, if they want to win consistently, they're not coming to the Islanders. If they want to make the most money, they're not coming to the Islanders. That's why free agents don't come here. And maybe they want to grow their hair the way they want to grow it.
Delusional thinks he's still on the Devils, says Frank. I like that. Delusional Lou, I'm sorry.
Gungu says, tomorrow, will Ovechkin light the lamp? Absolutely. How can you make a basement less damp?
David also says here, Lou is lazy at this age. I don't think he's lazy. So what he does is just re-sign the same players to long-term deals. I just think he says, I want to win a Stanley Cup. That's what they put me here to be, as competitive as possible. That's all I care about. Did they score, Grumpy?
They did not. Duke will lose today. They choked this game away down the stretch. They absolutely did.
John Shire, see you later. He's a bad coach. See you later, John Shire.
Ponyboy Curtis says, does anyone know if Robin Leonard is still alive? I don't know. Do you guys remember his Twitter meltdown in December? Are those face tattoos real? Don't know about that.
Face tattoos. But yes, the Twitter meltdown was real. I never really actually looked too much into that. I probably need to do that this offseason. Maybe we'll rehash some of the things. How much time is left for the Duke Blue Devils, Grumpy?
2.5 seconds, and Houston's got 2 free throws. So
they've got enough time. Maybe they miss. You think they miss
something? Or maybe they're going to add time to the clock.
Grumpy,
I'm thinking part of these
3.
The last 2 minutes usually take about 30 minutes now because every single play they're reviewing this, they're reviewing that. I don't know. Frank from Empire State says people forget Snow drafted all those players. They subconsciously think it was loser. Yeah, it wasn't. He's had one guy who was a consistent starter for the team now that he drafted. That's Simon Holmstrom, the only one. No one else. He's been there 6 years. One guy has been a solid contributor, Simon Holmstrom, and it wasn't until this year that he became a solid contributor. Those are just facts. Robert M. says Islanders need more offense and defense. It's time for rebuild. It absolutely is. Gungun says, why this season has the Dauber stunk to high heaven? He hasn't. TJ, which rock group's amps went to 11?
No idea.
I forget who that was. Also,
was that an actual thing?
Yeah, they said their amps are 11. Maybe it was Spinal Tap. Gungun says, was Loopy Lou hesitant to move Old Farts at the deadline because he didn't like what he was being offered in return? Will he be burned? That's what he says. He didn't want to move. At the end of the day, he didn't want to move anyone off of this roster.
That's correct.
The only reason that they moved Nelson is because there was no way he was re-signing.
I kind of wish it would have been as bad as humanly possible to guarantee Lou being gone. I wish you would have signed back Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri, so it would have been the straw that broke the proverbial back for many casual fans, because that's really what you're going after. You're going after the casual fans, because the casual fans are the ones that are still going to show up. They're still going to go ahead and do certain things. They're still going to buy merchandise, things like that. But the casual fans are really what you're going after.
True that. Duke loses.
Well,
disappointing. They fell apart at the end. They cracked under the pressure. They
how
absolutely.
did the Cooper Flag kid do?
He led them in scoring today.
Everybody else just.
Florida is going to win the championship come Monday. Florida's going to win.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The thing is, when you play a whole bunch of freshmen, the big moments sometimes you kind of shrink. Houston's got a lot of guys who are upperclassmen.
A lot of seniors and stuff.
And the officials let a lot of these rough plays go that they tend to do in the big tournament. They let a lot of those go. That's the way Houston plays. Duke had this game in total. They were up by 14 points with like 7 minutes to go and they lost. Not good enough. Not good enough. No excuses, just not good enough. Sorry. Brian John says Lou will trade the pick to improve the team. He's staying one more year apparently. There's no way he's trading the pick. No way.
Could you imagine he trades away the pick?
No way.
And he adds another piece like that. He adds like a young piece. He's like, hey, we added. My God. Could you imagine the reaction if he traded the first round pick?
No way he trades the pick.
God almighty.
No way. Nick D says maybe sign Tony DeAngelo 2 for 2. You think I don't want him back. Why do you want him back? How many guys do you need? How many defensemen do you need on this team?
I'd be fine with Tony DeAngelo on a 1-year deal. I would.
Why? You have 10 or 11 defensemen.
I think he brings offensive upside, and you can trade him at next year's deadline. That's why.
But he doesn't trade anyone at the deadline. He keeps everybody.
Lou has to be gone. That's the thing. Lou's got to go. That's how this all runs. Lou has to go. Simple.
Well,
Lou's got to go.
But if he's not traded, if he's not gone, he's not traded. Anybody he signs, he's not trading. When's the last time that he traded somebody that he could resign or was under contract? Never. The answer is freaking never. Never, ever. He signs the guys and he keeps them until the end of the contract. Unless he's got to give up assets to move him.
Yeah. And Ryan P says here, well, again, think about it. They did the same thing with Zach Parise. Did the same thing with Zdeno Chara. The same thing with Johnny Boychuk. The same thing with all these guys that are on expiring deals. They had to let them expire and ride off them into the sunset as an Islander, or they try to sign them back, or they trade trade that toxic piece away and get rid of them. Ryan P says Wallstrom being a total bust is a big setback for the franchise. I think so. I mean, especially with what they were anticipating that he was going to be. Miss. And again, the funny thing was, I remember
that's not the reason why. That was not a big setback for the franchise.
I think with what they were anticipating he was going to be was a setback. Sure.
Okay. It doesn't matter. The fact is the general manager never made any moves. You cannot bring the same back team that's never won anything and expect different results.
Do you remember where we were that draft day, Grumpy? We went to go
Yeah.
to the Islanders meetup in Charlotte. We went there.
I remember that.
And I remember when we were getting close, I was going to be happy either way. We wanted Dobson,
Yep.
but I was happy. It was like, great. If we can get Dobson and Bouchard, that
That's
would have
what I
been,
wanted.
because we had no defense at that time period. We were coming off of the Doug Waite zero defense style. I was like, man, adding two solid defensemen like that, Bouchard, and more of the offensive side, and Dobson, again, who just seems to be the all-around good package. I'm like, if we could add Dobson and Bouchard, oh, man, wouldn't that be great? And again, like Bouchard went to pick right before us. Like, okay, Dobson's still available. I remember, I think they picked Wallstrom first. I'm like, don't fucking miss up on Dobson. You know, it's it's funny. You think about how that would have been different if it was like we did acquire Dobson and Bouchard the same draft class. Oh man, that'd be nice.
That's what I wanted.
Drew
Who
Grumpy
says, I've been hearing rumors from scouting sites that Quinn Finley could possibly become someone who's a part of the future of the organization. But even still, it's not 100%, and he's about 3 years away. Yeah, he's a second-year college guy.
The thing that bothers me is even when the season's lost like it is now, why is Alex Jeffries not getting a potential chance in the NHL?
Why not? Why not?
You have to lose.
It's the same thing.
I want to roll out Matt Martin.
It's the same thing we said about Kiefer Bellows in the day when we weren't making the playoffs. Play him over the last 40 games and see if he can be part of the solution. This way, going into the offseason if he can or if he can't. They never really did. They did not do that.
Yep. And that's really the problem. Where it's just like, you've got the chance to figure this out, but we're not doing it. We're not taking the opportunity to do so. Just kind of like, what, guys, what value and benefit does it continue? Matt Martin's not going to hit 1,000 games. Why continue to roll him out there? Time to give some of the young guys a chance to see, what can this guy do in a 7-game stretch? Should this be somebody we're looking to maybe integrate into the lineup and give him a chance next year? Well, no, we're just going to play him at Bridgeport the rest of the season, and that will be that.
Get what you get.
Yep, absolutely. Here you go. Good.
Tonight, the Mets came back strong. Will Lou Lamoriello finally grow some testicles this offseason and prove us wrong? He will not.
Bunny Bakerta says here, Tony D is a locker room disease. Far, far away from this franchise. Please. I like that. Nicholas Dominic. It's a good one, too. Whatever happened to Otto Koivula? Great question. Now, Otto Koivula is a guy who always played well in the Finnish Elite League when, again, it's a much wider ice surface. Couldn't skate well enough. But again, there's another prospect that we thought maybe as a power forward could pan out. He always had good numbers in the A, had good numbers in the Finnish Elite League, but couldn't skate well enough. That was another prospect that they were hoping could do things. Couldn't skate well enough at the NHL level. Simple.
Got to be able to skate. Got to be
We'd
able to.
rather have Duclair or Wallstrom on the roster. Neither.
Not Duclair. Duclair's a freaking quitter.
Neither. I'd rather have
Put
neither
on
on the
team.
roster. If I had to pick one, Duclair's a much more talented player. But at this point, God, I really don't know. Because like one is like, okay, is Duclair a locker room problem too? You know what I mean? Is he a locker room
Quitter.
problem?
He's a quitter.
Quitter, but when you've got quitters in the locker room, does that impact kind of the mindset in the room?
Absolutely, it does.
That's my thing. Is it like, okay, when he's not there, is it addition by subtraction? Goon Grump.
Is it just a matter of time until John Tortorella's Islander coach? There's no way he's going to be Islander coach.
God
Hey,
almighty.
Grumpy, want to take a toke off of this roach?
John J. Grumpy. John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Ron Joaquin says, Lou cannot be in charge of anything next year. 2 years of missing the playoffs, 2 years of squeaking in the first round eliminations means it's time for a change. Lou is only accountable to the owners. His dual roles need to be filled by others. He needs to be gone.
Yep.
He needs to be gone.
Rick Rock says Yzerman told Higgins he will be an Islander, as if he knows this is a fact. Lou is going to make someone at the draft an offer they can't refuse. Last move to set the table for Shanahan.
Okay. Interesting comment from Rick Rock. Would you want the Islanders to trade up to get Higgins?
If he starts dropping more than what we expect, absolutely. Sure. That's what you have the draft picks for. If you really think a guy like Higgins can do it, I think Higgins has performed. He's played in college hockey this year. He didn't play as well as people had expected this year for him. That's why he dropped from the consensus -- 1 overall pick for like 2 years to where he's like now like 4th.
Would you trade a first this year and a first next year to move up to 4?
If that's where he goes at, I haven't really watched enough of Hagen's, but like, to be honest with you, I can't in good faith tell you I've watched a lot of these young guys and started to scout the young guys yet. I haven't.
To me, it's a no. We have no talent in the minors. A couple of guys that he drafted last year might turn into be something. Who knows? We don't know. I'm not trading draft picks on this team now. Just not happening. If you want to take a couple of seconds and move up into the end of the first, that's one thing. But I'm not moving this year's first, next year's first to move up a few spots. That's not happening. That's never happening. You need more bodies. If you can get a guy who drops, now here's the thing. If Hagen's drops to, if the Islanders are picking 10th and he drops to 8, okay, I'll give you a first and a second to move up to 8. But that's it. That's it. I'm not taking a big leap where I got to give up multiple firsts. It's just that's not happening for me.
Okay. Yeah, I can't really tell you I know too much about him. But yes, Yzerman did say this, like, you're going to be an Islander. Maybe. Freedom Fund Adventure says, thanks for the notification, TJ, the jerk face. TJ, how is your move to Charlotte coming? We're not moving out to Charlotte. Well, we're just visiting. Yes.
Dale.
So JLS, Grumpy.
Talk about Phil's thinking Duclair was the big offseason pickup. Yeah, we knew it wasn't. We knew it. Here's the thing. You can always count on Phil to be gaslighting the Lamanites. That's it. That's his job. That's what he does. But he knows.
He enjoys it. He enjoys it too. And people fall for it over and over and over again.
Because they want to. They want to believe. They want to believe.
Freedom Fund Adventure says, yep, I believe mutual termination of the contract probably is what's going to happen, which is going to be great for the Islanders. I think so too. Drew says here, Lou's brain is going to melt trying to figure out the math between Duclair's cap hit and the amount of cap space is going to be left when the contract is terminated.
Yeah.
Adam P said, this team's a joke. Absolutely. Goon Grump.
Grumpy, who is a greater leader, Lamoriello or Dean Wormer? Dean Vernon Wormer. Do you know who that is, TJ?
Yes.
Who is it?
He's the guy. Dean Wormer is the guy from Animal House.
Very good. Will Anthony Duclair's contract be put on the back burner? I think he's gone. Yeah. Oh, I need time away to think. What? Goodbye.
Hey, guess what? If he was injured, he should be getting a surgery right now.
Yeah.
They should notify that the team should be, hey, Anthony Duclair just had season-ending injury. He just had a season-ending surgery. Guess what? He's not getting surgery. They're not letting him play on a torn fucking groin.
No way.
Like,
No way.
Through. You think he's out there playing on a torn groin still?
No way.
That's what you think? He had a torn groin originally.
He's a dog.
That's right. He had a torn groin early.
9 and 11. That's all you need to know. We didn't know what the issue was because we didn't care enough to look into it. 9 and 11. No one wants him. They spend any time with him, they don't want him anymore. Sorry, don't want him. Adventure goes, as a lifelong athlete and someone who has worked in sports at high level, when was it outlawed for a coach to call a guy out? Well, because a lot of softies. It's the softy society right now.
Yeah.
Don't hurt my feelings really matter. Dude, you make so much money. Your feelings shouldn't count for shit. They should go out there and just berate you endlessly. You get paid a lot of money.
E-Train says,
do you think Anthony Duclair has how much actual money of his $3.5 million do you think he earned on his contract this year? Would you say maybe $50?
Vet minimum.
I'd say $50. E-Train Man says, I was at Tuesday's game. Duclair was just standing around in the middle of the ice watching the play. Yeah. Okay. That's because
he's more than happy to try to get an odd man rush going the other way and try to cherry pick.
Bingo. That was
play any defense.
That was the one thing I remember when we first had that sign. Said it seems like he's standing around up there cherry picking all the time, not playing any defense.
Yeah. Freedom Fund Adventure.
Grumpy, did TJ do anything nice for you in the Warden during his visit? How was the visit and the baby? The baby is wonderful. TJ did not do anything nice for us.
Stop.
Matter of fact, he was continually berated me for doing things like if I washed the dishes for his child, I didn't do it the way he thought I should do it. Well, then he should have
put plastic in the bottom portion of a dishwasher because it melts plastic. You know that, right?
Doesn't melt.
Let's move on. Goon Grump.
Engvall has been this season's MVP. Did Waugh give Duke the third degree?
Engvall's not the season's MVP. And Watt did not give him the third degree. What a no. Soft. They owe Duclair $10.5 million. He's not giving that up. I guess that is true. I mean, like, do you think Duclair would bet on himself again and give up a guaranteed 3 more years under contract?
If he was still hurt, why didn't they just put him on long-term injury and never bring him back?
He's not hurt. He's not.
I know he's not. I know he's not hurt. He's just lazy. His little feelings are hurt.
For people who think he's playing hurt, again, play it through. You think Duclair, who tore his groin, is playing with a partially torn groin out there that could potentially tear more? Because, like, when you have a tear in a muscle and you continue to work out on that and you continue to put effort for it, it's going to give a chance for you to continue to tear that muscle more. That's what happens.
Torn muscles need time to heal, period.
That's correct.
Or
He
surgery.
had time to heal.
Or surgery. If it was that severe, he would have had surgery.
That's
and it would have been the end of the year.
Yep.
It wasn't that severe.
Adam P.
And I'm not saying it wasn't severe, but it wasn't where he needed surgery for repair.
Correct.
Adam P says John Cooper pisses and whines like an impotent jerk when calls don't go his way. Yeah,
He's kind of right, though.
but
When
really
the calls
not.
don't go his way. He's again, like, I think he's right when he complains. He does come off as whiny, but he's not wrong.
You
again,
don't see him imploding over every single call that goes against him like Waugh does. Every
I
single.
do kind of like Wall's hot-headed. He tells you exactly what he thinks. I kind of do like that. It's so different than Lou. It kind of makes me happy. Somebody at least is speaking what their mind is.
When I see Patrick Waugh go crazy and get that red face, he reminds me of from the Ren and Stimpy show, George LaCour.
Fuck.
He reminds me of that little cartoon character, George LaCour. Drew, and people can look that up on their own because TJ won't do it. Drew says, guess Duclair is going to be the next person to get ho-sanged by Lou. So,
Oh, who sang him?
Someone
You
put him in the
give the old
minors.
dog to pasture, though, says Adam P. Here you go, Craig.
this is an abusive relationship. Piss or get off the pot. This half in, half out nonsense is just going to keep us stuck in the middle as always.
It's the worst place to be. It's seriously like you're in purgatory. You're in purgatory for a fan. That's what it is.
Yeah. He's like, oh, it'll take 10 years for rebuild. Well, you're going to be going year 5. You're going to be year 5 because when you don't make the playoffs, you're in rebuild.
God, the ALS.
Lou Lamoriello could mess up a 1-car funeral. Well, hopefully only one more time.
Hey, Grumpy. This is George LaCour. This is the guy you think it looks like.
Absolutely. That looks like Patrick Waugh when he gets all angry. He was always angry all the time.
This guy doesn't look very upset.
He looks, look at, oh yeah. Tell me he doesn't look like that over there.
He does
George
not look
LaCour.
like Patrick Waugh. He does
Yes,
not
he
look like
does.
Patrick Waugh.
Absolutely does.
Okay. Maybe that picture a little bit there, but that's it.
Yeah, when he gets all worked up.
All righty. Everyone, Horvat is a fail. Adam P says, I don't consider Horvat as a plus. What has Horvat done? Seriously, what has Horvat done that's made our team better?
Nothing. He's okay. He's one of the better players on the team. He is. He's one of the better players on a bad team. He was the same in Vancouver. And I like Bo Horvat, but he's not a difference maker. He just isn't. I
You
like
trade
Bo
away
Horvat.
a first round pick, and we'll see what that pick is. That's Axel Sandin Palika, who was selected there. He led all the Swedish Elite League in points this year for defensemen.
Could have been anybody else in the first round as well.
That's correct. Could have been anybody else you could have selected. And then maybe that pick pans out. Maybe it doesn't. You trade away Atu. Ratu at the time was our top prospect. And Vancouver, he's a point-a-game guy in the AHL. We'll see what that looks like. He hasn't really been able to consistently crack the lineup there for them. Maybe he doesn't pan out. We'll see. And a guy in Anthony Beauvillier, who is a pretty solid bottom 6 guy. That's what you gave up for Bo Horvat, who on a good team and on Vancouver was a second-line center.
Yeah.
On a good team, he's a second-line center. On the Islanders, he's a first-line guy. And we paid him like a first-line guy, even though he's a second-line guy.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't consider that a clear victory. It's like the same thing with Jean-Gabriel Pageau. Is Jean-Gabriel Pageau, when we first brought him over, better than $5 million a year, or 5.5? Sure, he was, but he's not anymore. And guess what? Bo Horvat's not going to be worth $8.5 million towards the tail end of that deal either.
He was never worth $5 million a year 4 years ago. He just wasn't. In a flat cap era, a third line center is not worth $5 million a year. Sorry, it's not.
More the point is, I mean,
That's
this.
the Lamoriello way. Trade for a guy and throw ridiculous money in term at him, and he'll stay. That's what he does. Because he's not a general manager. He cannot manage assets.
Matthew S. says here, Duclair is puzzling. I hope it's the groin, but at any time, but the time off is odd. Matthew, I just want you to think it through, though. Do you realistically think he's playing on a torn groin out there? I don't. If you're playing with a torn anything, you leave yourself susceptible to tear it further.
He's not injured. He's not.
He's not. He may be playing a little banged up. Everybody's playing banged up. At this point in time in the season, 80 games in, almost, everybody's playing banged up.
That's right.
Anthony Rizzi.
The only thing I will say, I think Watt is the reason the Islanders got Duclair, not Lou. I think it was a combination of the two.
Drew Grumpy. And I think nobody was willing to give him a 4-year deal.
The only saving grace with the Palmieri trade is that the prospect the Devils took with our first-round pick doesn't even put up good bottom 6 numbers in the AHL. Okay, but
it could be anybody, though, you draft.
It didn't mean it was that guy you were going to draft.
Yes. Yes.
And what has Palmieri done for the team? He had a good series against Boston one year.
The first year we traded for him.
That's
Good
it.
series against Boston.
That's it.
Yep.
Look at his career numbers. Before this year, 33 points a year, 33 points a year, 33 points a year. That's worth $5 million a year. So you're going to give a guy who's 34 another extension. Just why? Why?
Adventure.
Did Glory Boy X show up if we are getting an episode of the X-Files tonight?
Episode of the X-Files tonight. Grumpy, you seemed to like a coach who would rip his players.
Absolutely. If they don't perform, you get ripped.
Grumpy, what do you have for the X-Files that you want?
No. X was at there was some type of parties, some type of soiree today that X was at.
Always never showing up. Typical X. Shadow Rider says here, give me the current odds of the Islanders making playoffs, less than 1%. Freedom Fund Adventure, in all seriousness, I think legitimately it's less than 1%. Freedom Fund Adventure says here, why do the Islanders try to shine up a shit instead of acquiring a good talent who plays hard? Good question.
Because your GM sucks.
We like bottom 6 guys who have grit. We love the bottom 6. We can make them top 6ers, though. Every other team just missed out. Thomas Antonetti says here, good evening, gentlemen. All is not totally lost this season. Tomorrow, when Ovechkin breaks the record, he'll do it against us.
I knew that
was the first time this season. There'll be a sellout at UBS.
Absolutely.
I have notifications on. I never get notified when you guys are live. YouTube is bullshit, says Bed and Blanket. I'm sorry. I don't know. My mistake there, Bed and Blanket. I don't like that YouTube's not updating you guys when you've got the notification bell on. Lou is done. I believe the Islanders will move on, says Shadow here. Punter Curtis says here, Grumpy, can you do an imitation of Anders Lee groveling to sniff Patrick Kane's drop track?
That's what it sounds like.
Matthew Carbone says, good evening. What's up, Matt? And David says here, I told that Palmieri is already signed 2 to 3 year deal between $3.5 to $4 million. Lou, like every year, will wait until some point at the end of the season to announce it.
Why? Why would he wait? Why would he wait? It's stupid. He's stupid. It's stupid. He's a jackass. He's done.
That's a good question. Punter Curtis.
Who would win an arm wrestling match, Josh Bailey or Lou Lamoriello?
Josh Bailey, right?
Bailey's wife would win that one.
Vinny says here, the bottom line is this old, overrated piece of shit is still calling the shots. Un-effing real, says Vinny. Absolutely. Punter Curtis says here, well, old Patty's X's and O's.
Well, I'll be back next year. I think he will.
Fuck. I hope not. Thomas Antonetti.
I'm sorry. The Duclair situation underscores the theme of this season. This is a real problem going forward. We can't buy out everyone, him, Mayfield, etc. So said that was saddled with multiple bad contracts. Well, blame your general manager. We called it on this show. Every contract that was bad, and everyone has turned out to be bad. Every single one.
Yeah.
Everyone.
He says here, does Malkin care enough to fire Lou and his son? No. To answer your question, Matthew, he doesn't. And he's part of the pop. If they don't fire him this offseason, clear as day. They don't give a shit about the product on the ice. All they care about is developing the property, the real estate, the mall, the complex, and then they're fucking out. They don't care. That's it. Bed and blanket grump.
I'm fully on board with the get rid of Lou idea, but who do you get to replace him? I can't imagine great GMs are waiting to come to the Islanders organization to rebuild it. You go on a young guy.
Hey, Tampa, who's Tampa's assistant GM?
Yep. Get a young guy.
We're willing to pay you. What are you getting paid now? I'm willing to triple it. Doesn't matter.
Here's the thing. Any assistant GM is going to jump at a chance to be a GM of a team. And the management has seemed like they're willing to spend. It's just they spend on the wrong guys because the GM's old as shit.
I assume Lou Lamoriello's not taking any discounts at the age of 82 years old.
I bet he's not.
They have, okay.
He'll save money with that contract. He's overpaid. That's why he's not going anywhere. Gets paid a shitload of money to run the whole operation. No assistants. It's only him. That's what agents are telling people. Man, he's a pain in the ass to deal with. And he doesn't want to give an inch. Dude, I don't know. I don't think that's true because he gives miles to the pieces of shit that he brings into the organization. That he does.
So the assistant GMs are Stacy Rostet, director of player development, and Jamie Pusher, director of player personnel.
I'll take Jamie. Jamie for 100, Alex.
Director of player personnel. All righty. Fair enough. Sounds good to me.
Bring in some guys from that scouting staff.
Yep. Freedom Fund Adventure.
If Duclair had that documented reputation, why didn't our dumb GM know that before giving him 4 years? Because he's an asshole. He can't make any good moves, waited too long, and then makes the only desperation move he can. Yeah. Here's the thing. No one wants to play for the Islanders. No one wants to come and play for the Islanders willingly. It's a Stockholm syndrome when they bring guys in. They pay them a whole lot of money. You don't have to win. You don't have to produce. You just don't. The only thing you can't do is just stand around with your elbow on the sideboard when the game is going on, apparently, like Duclair does. You can't do. At least you got to pretend like you're part of. I'm trying, coach.
TJ, when did you ever play for a coach that was answering questions live on television media? We had games that were nationally televised. Yeah, so we had games and post-game pressers like that were absolutely televised in college. Thomas Antonetti, Grump.
Did you both see the story circulation that Lou is coming back for at least one more season? Unreal. Can't someone step in and intervene in the session? Like an intervention.
Please,
one more season of Lou.
Real quick. If somebody has a source showing that Lou's coming back for another year, I have not seen that. Please send that to me. I have not looked at the source, haven't looked at that information. Matthew says here, yes, drafting is key. Maybe the Islanders need to revamp.
They need a new scouting staff.
Considering Bridgeport and the Islanders are 500 for the last 4 years, it's time for a new voice at president and GM spots.
How would you like to be somebody selling season tickets to Bridgeport?
Fuck.
First of all, they bastardized the uniform. First of all, they changed it from the Sound Tigers to the Islanders, and it looked like some 3-year-old drew the logo. And then they leave Fredo there, and he's run the team into the ground, just like his old man. Like I said, like father, like son.
I'd say this. I like this one, though. Vinny says here, I have to finally say the old POS is worse than Milbury.
At least Milbury was entertaining. And here's the thing. Milbury had no money. They wouldn't let him spend any money.
When Lou finally leaves and the next GM has to have a 10-year rebuild, the legacy that – think about it. Lou won the Devils 3 cups, right?
Yep.
Every fucking Devil fan hates Lou Lamoriello.
Yep.
There's a reason for that. Because
not the older ones probably, but the ones who are like 30.
Every fan realized that, okay, why are we not starting to transition? This team has no shot. Why are we continuing to throw good after bad? We should be acquiring draft picks. Why are we still just trying to hang on to a thread? That's where we are now, except with no Stanley Cups to show. Freedom says here, only defenseman I'm keeping is Romanoff. Riley is my 6-7 for the same.
He blows. Romanoff sucks.
Maybe Dobson, but in the right trade, he can go. Defense needs a total makeover. Thank God Pulkkinen is playing now in the United States.
Okay. Pump the fucking brakes on Pulkkinen. He can't skate. He cannot skate. He cannot skate. He's like an oak tree out there. The little guy just walk right around him. He can't skate. He can't skate.
Yeah.
He's like Zdeno Char at the end. He can't skate. Can't move his feet. He's big, really big and tall. You know what that means? He can't skate. Okay, maybe if he starts at one end line and just starts chugging, by the time he gets the other, he's moving, but he can't change directions.
He's 6'6".
Skate.
He is kind of
Can't skate. And Romanov blows. Romanov sucks. He is single-handedly responsible for I can't tell you how many goals because he never plays positionally sound. I know why people like him. Man, look at that ball. He's blocking shots. He's running people. Yeah, he's running people up the freaking ice, pinching, giving up 2-on-0s. That's what he's doing. He sucks. I've never seen a worse defenseman than Alexander Romanov. He blows.
I will say I'll pump the brake on Polkinen. It's exactly right. I just looked up his stats. He's only played 5 games for the Bridgeport Islanders, but he seems to be fitting right in. 5 games, no points, -7.
Yeah, he sucks. He can't skate.
I will say this. It's not him. Okay, Bridgeport is abominable. They're awful. I'm just not willing to say Polkinen's going to immediately be a guy. He's going to pan. We have no earthly idea. If I'm going to believe any Tom, Dick, and Harry is watching, La Liga or Liga, finish Elite League games, I just don't believe it. Nobody has enough time in the day to do that. We'll see what he looks like in camp. That's the first time I can actually watch him play.
If you played 5 games as a professional and you're -7 with no points, I cannot imagine anyone say, wow, he was really good. He was only -4 tonight. No.
Okay, Chris Terry.
Chris freaking Terry.
Chris Terry leads our team in points in Bridgeport.
Again.
64 points in 65 games.
How old is he? 33?
I don't know. He's ancient at this point.
Like I said, we don't have any.
Oh, no.
Chris Terry still. Chris Terry's been there forever. Forever.
Oh, God.
Forever.
Chris Terry's 35.
There you go. He was their leading scorer when I went to see him in the playoffs against the Charlotte Checkers when they got rolled. When Holmstrom looked absolutely freaking invisible out there.
Oh, man. I'll say this. This is kind of a little disappointing. I did not do my research, I guess, on Jeffries as much this year. I just knew where the hype. Oh, best guy to come out of Merrimack. I bought. Okay. Alex Jeffries in 54 games has 27 points and is a -23.
Liam Foodie, 40 points. Brian Pino, 45. Sam Bolduc, who'll never get a shot to play for the Islanders, 35. Alex Jeffries. Where is Isaiah George? Where is he? Matthew Maggio sucks. Where's Isaiah George? Holy shit.
Points in 28 games.
12 points in 28 games. Is he hurt?
Julian Gauthier, pretty good.
Julian Gauthier. He was another guy who was going to be a first-line winger, I was told.
Calio Delius, Grumpy, 13 points.
-32. It's hard to be -32. Wait, I want to see some. Look, who's -26?
-26 is Justin Gill.
Center. Tough to be.
I could see let's sort by the worst plus minus. That may be good for us, Grumpy.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Is there anybody who's a plus? Oh, Julian Gauthier, +2. That's the leader on your team. Mark Gatcomb.
There it is.
+1. Let's go look at some of the other guys.
Hudson Fashing. I forgot he played a few games down there. God, his numbers have been bad this year.
-2.
Pierre Engvall.
1 goal, 1 point in 6 games, -3.
Oh, no. Wyatt Newpower. I
Like
like
that guy. He was another guy who was a hero. -5 in 12 games, 7 points.
Dennis Schwalski. My God, we were so bad.
That's pretty good.
Cole Bardreau, Grumpy. He's consistently
-7, 64 games. That's respectable.
Yeah, there it is.
Jesse Polkin, -7 in 5 games.
God, jeez. Not good. Not good. Yeah, Pino.
Grant Hutton -9.
Jeffries -23. DeFore -23.
What is George? What's George?
George is a -13.
-13 in 28 games. That's not good either.
I'm interested to see what William DeFore's numbers look. I'll look that up in a second. What they look. Matthew Maggio -29. 19 points -29.
I feel it's safe to say Matthew Maggio is again. I just have to tell. Drafted as an overager in the 5th round. Guess what? Probably not going to make it.
That's correct.
Stop drinking the freaking Kool-Aid.
What has Matthew Maggio done for Colorado? I'm sorry. Then we're going to jump off this because we need to get back to comments and wrap these. I'm over of no points in his last 5 games for Colorado.
The 4.
Yeah, he's got 4 points for Colorado in the A so far since he's moved
He's a
there.
+3 though.
Yeah, but still not good production. Anyway, let's go ahead and get back to it here. We're going to through a few more comments here. Grumpy, you're 100,000,000% wrong on Romanov. He's widely regarded as the best. Okay.
By who? By who?
Loser fans online.
Islander fans don't know shit.
Okay, David D.
It
He
really-
was highly regarded as the best defenseman on that Montreal team. Montreal teams are much better without him.
giving up 300 goals a year. He sucks.
David.
David DeJesus says it really seems that many Islander players value third liners more than top play. They absolutely do. Always criticizing Dobson, Barzell, and Sorokin. Absolutely. That's a Phil's facts. We hate the best players, but we love the scrubbinis.
It's like
They're easy to like. They're easy to like because to a man, they always try real hard. But you know why they try real hard? Because they don't have really much talent.
You know what it's like? It's just like the same Yankee fans who bitch and moan and complain about Aaron Judge. Oh, Aaron Judge is Grumpy, you're one of those fans.
Okay, I'm not one of those fans. I said that I'd rather have at their where they are right now. I'd rather have Juan Soto over Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is 32 years old. Juan Soto's 25.
Freedom from Adventure says here, my Gators took care of business. On to the finals. Give us a heartfelt go Gators. TJ and Grub.
They're going to win Monday. They'll absolutely win Monday. Moose Joe Sasquatch says, hi, guys. I feel like Waz has had enough. I don't think he's trying to get fired, but I don't think he would mind it because if he walks away like in Colorado, he'll never work in the NHL again. That's true. That's true.
Frank says here, I'll be at the game tomorrow. Well, Frank,
hopefully
you see history.
It's going to get to see history.
Oh, my gosh. So many want the Islanders, it to happen to the Islanders. Those are bandwagoners. I'll be upset if it happens. Freedom from Adventure. Okay, he says, TJ emailed you to the Islanders address. Please look at it now and acknowledge it that you'll do it without giving it away. Okay, I'll look at it here in a second. Yes.
Okay, says Gretzky's last goal was against the Islanders.
Thank you, Frank. I thought it was something like that I saw online, but I wasn't sure. And now the goal to surpass Gretzky will be against the Islanders.
We are part of history.
JP.
The 84 Penguins ruined it for everybody. They're the reason we have a draft lottery in the NHL.
Son of a gun.
I still think if you're going to have a draft lottery, you still have to have it weighted better than 25%. I just don't think that's right. Because don't tell me that San Jose and Chicago are tanking. They're just terrible.
Okay. I saw your email. Freedom from Adventure. Maybe we could try to do something like that, but it's late in the evening. Do they work that late is the real question. Drew.
Dictator Lou doesn't like tanking. He's just like John Mara.
Freedom from Adventure.
I want Porter Matrone in the draft. Big, physical, tough right wing who scores. He's compared to Kachuk and Corey Perry. Imagine a line of Yzerman, Ritchie, and Matrone. That is potentially the best line in decades.
I want quick guys. I want quick guys who skate real well and put the puck in the net. That's all I want. You could find the guys who could beat the shit out of players later in the draft.
The NHL just does not hype that. You have to really be able to skate.
The ability for you to bust out as a big guy who's a power forward is much higher than it has been in years past. Just
look how long it took for Brady Kachuk to really break out.
Like yourself, Slakowski. People hate Slakowski in Montreal. I take Slakowski on this team in a heartbeat, but it's like they don't like big power forwards. They don't sell the tickets these days. They're just not as entertaining as the small guys who could do a lot more with the puck, unfortunately.
Frank K says, unfortunately, be ready for Malkin to run it all back by maintaining everyone. That's the lazy way to do it. That's why Lamoriello's GM. It's just the lazy choice. He's a lazy general manager. He's a lazy owner.
JP.
TJ in 81-82, Gretzky had 50 goals in 39 games. It got 5 games versus the Flyers. The performance is online. It's insane.
5 goals against the Flyers. However, Gretzky
insane.
However, Gretzky scored his 700th goal at the Coliseum in the late 90s. Drew says, honestly, I'm in the opinion that even if somehow we successfully tank and get the 8th overall pick, why not trade back to get another first? You know how many assets, you need to get to speed up a rebuild.
I don't think it's regarded as a really great draft. I don't know how many players deep it is. As we get closer, people say, oh, this is really like a like there's really 8 guys or 7 guys who are the top. And then it's like, everyone else is bunched together. So you want to get high in talent. You're picking high. You want to get a high in talent.
JP says Edmonton just doesn't have the goaltender. Skinner blows.
Absolutely, 100% agree.
I'll put this up here just really quickly. We'll touch on this before getting to the rest of the comments. I do like how I've not done any research, admittedly, in any sort of fashion on the players that are available for this year's draft yet. Here's a few that we've got. All right, they've got the tier 1, they've got tier 2. Oh, great, there's 8, and then the rest. You know what we're going to have is we're going to finish like the 9th overall pick.
That's what would be nice.
Right outside where it's the tier 1 and the tier 2 players. Yeah, that'd be the typical Islanders. Or it's like we finish the 5th overall pick when Leon Draisaitl goes 4th, and we get Michael Duclair, Matthew S.
Yeah, I don't understand why so many fans are rooting for Ovi to break the record against us. It's kind of embarrassing, if you ask me. I'm not rooting for it. I'm just saying it's going to happen.
It's probably going to happen. Mario.
Grumpy old man, what became known as the butterfly style was pioneered by Tretiak in the late 60s. It took nearly he wasn't the late 60s. Tretiak was Terry.
Tretiak.
I don't think it was the late 60s when he started. It took nearly 2 decades before the NHL accepted it. Yeah, the butterfly style is way different now than what Tretiak did.
JP.
JP says Ted Leonis is a good hockey owner. Everything appeared to go right for Washington. However, Leonis enables their success. It all starts with him. Absolutely. It always starts from the top, trickle down.
Freedom Fund Adventure says here, is there something mentally wrong with Lou? He refuses to take action, change the roster, change tactics, despite being the worst and worst results. Lou lies as it be is bullshit. I have never seen an executive act like this. There's no accountability.
Not a successful executive.
Freedom Fund Adventure says here, TJ, I'm trying to help you out. Men don't call men silver-haired foxes. Women call men that.
That's true. That's true.
Frank.
Ovi is not a better scorer than Bossy. Ovi is great, but Bossy is the best I've ever seen.
I never saw Bossy, so I can't comment on that. But I will say Ovechkin's the great. My opinion.
One thing that Bossy was really good at, always put the puck on net. It's underrated. Putting the puck on net is so it's invaluable. Hit the net. Good things happen when you hit the net.
Freedom Fund Adventure.
Islanders aren't going to have most fans in the stands versus Ovi. Sadly, Grumpy, give us TJ visit stories. Did he read rage? Road rage?
No,
he did not road rage.
I don't road rage. Grumpy likes to exaggerate.
That's not true.
Exaggeration.
That's not true. You absolutely have road rage. You did not have it while you were here, though. I don't know what happened when you took the car out. My vehicle looks a little worse for wear. But so I don't know what you did while you had my car, but I did not see any road rage.
Matthew S.
Don't care if Lou brought a few possibly good draft picks. He doesn't care, and it's taken him too long. Bye, Felicia.
Yep.
Who's Felicia?
Okay, it's like bye, Felicia. It's like it's a meme. You don't understand.
Oh.
No worries. Freedom says here, Fisherman logo is ugly and embarrassment. It represents the worst period. Although I really hate Lou and no longer trust the Islanders on and off the ice. It was 1 year. The Fisherman logo was there for like 1 or 2 years.
It was a couple of years, a few years.
Shit, we've been bad a lot of other years too.
But to say that the uniform had actually nothing to do with the product on the ice, just nothing. Freedom Fund Adventures, TJ Ritchie made Colorado. The Avs were a better team than the Islanders. They let him play 7 games and then sent him down.
7 games and he had like 1 point.
He was never going to make the big team for the year.
It's just to kind of give him a taste, get ready for what it looks like here.
Freedom Fund Adventures, Lou's idiot son, former Devil buddies are laughing their asses off at they're all getting paid and don't have to work much for results. What are the odds that every time a job is open, the best guy is a former Devil? All the time. David Conti is part of the scouting staff. He was great with the Devils, but again, that was like 35 years ago.
The game is much different.
Different.
Frank says here, goaltender interference call was against Columbus. Okay, thank you for that, Frank. And please remember that piece of shit Lou did not hire Waugh. Malkin hired Waugh. Malkin interviewed Waugh and made the hire. Lou sat there and did nada per the usual. TJ the Tyrant.
What does
Oh.
it tell you about? What does it tell you about Lou? Just he's all about the paycheck. It's all about the paycheck. Yeah, I don't care. Whatever you want. I'm 82 years old. I'm getting paid what? A couple $1 million a year. No problem. You want to hire him? No problem. He doesn't care. Done. Drew says, by the way, I'm the one who sent TJ all of these pictures.
Thank you. I'm trying to pull it all up here and make sure I don't miss anything because you did send me a lot. Thanks, Drew. I dropping the ball per the usual. We all know TJ is way too lazy to research and to create any content for the show on his own. I'm secretly the guy who provides all the content for the show, and TJ rambles about it. That's why TJ is constantly ignoring what Grumpy sends to him. He already's got some.
He does. He just ignores whatever I send. That's for certain.
Who knows, says Dan Miller. Here we go. Yeah, Doc Page to be a very
sad lady with how lazy her husband is. Uh-oh. He must have been here. This guy has zero work ethic. That's not true. That's not true.
So you get freedom from that, sure.
Sorokin is the best goalie in the NHL. You have zero idea how horrific this defense and defensive play of the forwards are. What goalie thrives with a team of sissies that won't clear the crease or protect? Or you got a guy like Romanov throws a blind pass up the center ice, then comes back, falls down, and lets a guy pass right over top of him for a goal. He blows. Man, Romanov blows. I don't hate anyone. He's my new whipping boy. He's terrible.
He's always been a whipping boy of mine.
All right, looks like are we putting something up here? Here we go.
Thank you for that.
Per The Athletic, the Islanders ranked 7th to last in NHL attendance this season. Nobody goes to games. Like I said, I don't know. All I know is when I look at the TV and I see empty seats, people tell me everyone is sitting in the restaurants. I don't believe that. I don't believe it.
Yeah, Drew said that there to me, but Isles, Dan, Grumpy. But yeah, it's just, man, oh man, I tell you, it's bad. I will say this last game, Sunday's game is going to help boost up the attendance. That's for certain.
Probably get up to 8th.
Drew says here, well, TJ, the casual fans aren't showing up either because we're bottom 5 in attendance this season. I like that.
Yeah.
The route should be to rebuild the team and to recoup assets. Absolutely. Robert D says here, tomorrow is the biggest Islanders game of the year and has nothing to do with the Islanders.
Also true.
Man, Robert, that's a good. Think about it. The biggest Islanders game of the season, probably the sellout.
Ovechkin breaking the goal scoring record.
It doesn't even have anything to do with us.
Nothing.
Drew.
Drew says, but hey, Lou calls up Mark Gatcomb, who granted has played great as a fourth liner, but even Gatcomb puts up less points than Alex Jeffries before he got called up. You know what? I remember last year when, was it Hudson Fasching or 2 years ago when Hudson Fasching came up, and Lou couldn't hate but slurp on his son's cock, saying, oh, that's Chris Lamarillo. He's the one who made that recommendation to bring him up. He's the worst general manager in the history of the American Hockey League. The numbers say something different. Okay. Phil's Fax says, I fucking hate you and hope you die.
Okay, I've got to explain the meme for those who are listening only. It's a meme I think that was done by Drew. It's I like my team's goalie, and it's like a happy little guy, a toddler with a little hat on. He's got a little infant hat on with a little spinning wheel on the top, and he's got a picture of Sorokin. He's happy with it, and it's just got a picture of Phil looking at this little happy child with complete just seething. I fucking hate you, and I hope you die. He does hate. He hates Sorokin.
He hates Sorokin. He hates Dobson, and he hates Barzell too.
When Barzal was playing, trust me, he tried to blame Barzal when he came back before he shattered his kneecap again.
Everyone else, he hates the best players on the team. That's what it does. He does. He hates them.
Yeah. Oof.
But he likes guys like Simon Holmstrom, who's a freaking. I mean, Simon Holmstrom has one more point than Noah Dobson. One. He's played on the first line this year. He's played on the second line. He's playing on power play. He's playing on penalty kill. Noah Dobson missed how many games?
Yeah.
Defenseman outscores him. And I think Holmstrom's been okay this year. He has. On a good team, he's third line winger. Nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Don't make him sound like he's better than he is, though, because he's not.
Freedom from nature.
Look, Lou goes on vacation immediately after the draft, and thus the Islanders have no rookie camp until the fall. This organization doesn't get to know Euro and college guys. Coaches don't get to coach anything.
Yeah, and Shanahan will never be with the Islanders. He sucks. He'll be a failure as an executive everywhere he's been. No trade. I don't know what that's. No trade. I don't know. Lose now for the draft position. Same fans wanting wins now will beg to trade up in the draft.
Yeah, I disagree. I thought Shanahan did do something good as an executive. He kicked Lamoriello upstairs after a year. He's like, no freaking way. In Toronto, you have to win games. You can't be some flop house loser bastard from New Jersey. No.
Brad says, so who is this season's MVP? The first half of the season was Anders Lee. The second half,
there's no one.
We're not giving out an MVP trophy for the second half. Been bad.
There's no one. Well, Horvat maybe. I don't know. What does it matter?
Player's obviously hurt. He's butt hurt. Yeah,
that's true.
Since when did Grumpy start watching Ren and Stimpy?
Oh, a long time ago when it was actually, coming out. Long time ago.
Stuart
years ago. Long time. Stuart Oppenheimer says, rather be a Rangers, Philly, or Bruins fan. Stop whining. Our prospect pool is so much better. No, it's not.
Stuart,
it's not. Don't listen. Let's see. I hope you're right. But you know what? One guy has come up to the big team that Lou Lamoriello drafted. One. He's been here 6 years. One guy. One guy. A third line winger. One guy. In 6 freaking years. Maybe.
I love that too. Like Mitchkov, right? Like he was drafted. He's only 19, 20 years old for the Flyers. Again, the 7th overall pick. He turned 20 this year. 58 points in 73 games.
It's pretty good.
That's a guy you say, in the NHL, by the way. Oh, wow, that's pretty good. Jet Lachenko, right? He's now down there in the A, but he's a guy who's bouncing around the 7th or the 13th overall pick. Guess what? They're going to have a really early draft pick this year, too. They're going to be bad for a few more years. But they understand that they're going through a rebuild.
Not everyone who's in your minor league system is going to pan out. If I looked at our minor league system right now, I'd say maybe 3 guys pan out. Maybe 3.
We're lucky.
But it's not this year coming up.
Yeah.
The Richie kid will be on he will be on the roster next year. He absolutely will.
You think so?
Yep, absolutely. They'll make him a third line center. That's where he'll be.
And like Boston, they're starting a rebuild. So yeah, Boston maybe has a worse prospect pool than us current to date. Maybe I can't tell you I'm too familiar with Boston's prospects, but at least they're starting to head in the right direction. They're like, yeah, we're not. We've had how many years again that we've started trading away young players and draft picks upon draft picks? We need to start loading up a little bit on those spots. The Rangers think about it. The Rangers have been still not trading away all their first round draft picks. The Gabriel Perreault kid
just signed it. He's signed. He's ready to play.
He's already been playing. He played 2 games, and he's looked good.
And he's good. He's good. He's better than anybody we got.
And the Rangers know and understand. They're like, oh gosh, we need to start changing a little bit of the face of how we've got. We won the President's Trophy last year. We still need to trade away guys at the deadline because this team isn't good enough to compete for a Stanley Cup. It's just like it's the awareness and I think the realization that's important. Here you go, Grumpy. Drew.
Breaking news: a severe injury for Islanders forward Anthony Duclair. Feelings will be out for the remainder of his tenure. I'd never bring him back in the room. Never.
Drew says here, Bridgeport is likely going to move locations within a couple of years. Yikes. Freedom Fund Venture says, here we go with TJ's Property Brothers bullshit. That SOB Tommy Baffy inserted into his empty brain every episode. Freedom Fund Venture says here, if I'm the next GM, I'd point out every time I was questioned about why things are hard that Lou Lamoriello did so much damage.
Yeah, absolutely.
And eventually the fans start to get upset with that, though.
Oh, my God.
Freedom Fund Venture.
Grumpy Polkin is an excellent skater and the best pick lover in organization. You heard that on draft night. I sent your lazy son video on his skating, but he's too damn lazy to show it. He
Let's
cannot.
wait until we start seeing him skating in preseason camp.
He can't turn. He cannot turn in small spaces. I don't care if he could skate in a straight line. He's a defenseman. You must be able to turn and pivot and flip your hips. It's tough to do when you're 6'7". It's just, if he was that good, if he could skate, if he's a great skater at that size, he would have been the first pick in the draft.
Okay.
Not a second rounder.
Okay. I know exactly what Drew's talking about here. He sent me. I'll let you read this comment and I'll pop this over here.
The only other time I saw a defenseman in the 30s range and above was Rasmus Dahlin like 3 years ago.
Minus 30s. The minus 30s
Oh,
range.
I'm sorry. Okay. Was Rasmus Dahlin like 3 years again when he was like a minus 56 on the season. Somehow he turned out to be pretty good, though. Is he that good?
I don't think he's that good.
I mean, I'm not saying he's bad, but it's like Buffalo blows. If he's that good, you'd think they'd be a little bit better.
This is what Phil was touting about, and Drew said this to me too. But I'll play it. I'll let you. This will be a good way to end the show.
Frank, do you have one trade that stands out as the worst trade from the deadline so far?
This is Frank Cervelli. So
He's a dope.
take. Yeah, I was about to say, take this with a grain of salt. But let's listen.
He's an
Go against the grain here because he's played pretty well in Colorado and has been a good fit. But I'm going to say long-term, Cal Ritchie and a first-round pick for a rental and Brock Nelson has a chance to be this decade's version of Philip Forsberg from Martin Erat.
Ooh. Wow. All right.
I just think Cal Ritchie's that good. Like, I'm that confident that Cal Ritchie is that good. You said Ryan Leonard is the best player playing right now that's not in the NHL. I think Cal Ritchie gives him a run for the money.
Can we fucking pump the brakes here? The guy had like 70 points in the OHL in, 47, 48 games, however many games he played. He wasn't even leading his team on point per game basis in the regular season. He's not leading his team in points in the playoffs. He's not leading his team in a point per game basis in the playoffs either. Shit, they got guys in the OHL. The Michael Misa kid is averaging over 2 points a fucking game.
Okay.
In the OHL, going to be drafted this year.
I don't want to minimize Callum Ritchie, but to say that he's going to be Philip Forsberg, that means he's going to be 90 point a year scorer.
That's just the shit that pisses me off.
Just come on, people. Let's have. You know what? I'd be ecstatic if that was the case. If that was going to be the case,
Bergeron.
Guess what?
Patrice Bergeron.
Okay.
It's like Patrice Bergeron.
Okay. If that's the case, Colorado never would have traded him.
Correct.
They never would have traded him because Brock Nelson's a second line center. If he was going to be a guy who puts up 90 to 100 points a year, there's no way you're trading that guy for a rental. No freaking way.
Correct.
You'd rather give up 2 number ones than that player.
That's right.
And I'm not saying that he sucks or anything like that. They know him enough to know, okay, Brock Nelson's been pretty good for them.
Yeah, he's got 14 points in however many games he's played for him.
I'm
sorry, 10 points in 14 games.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, just stop. And Frank Cervelli's an Islanders fan, so he wants that.
He's an Islander fan. I didn't know that.
I don't know if he is or not. I think he is. The way he talks, he must be.
He's always just fucking crazy on his ridiculous takes. That's what I do know about him.
Maybe he's not an Islanders fan. I don't know.
Let's listen to the last 6 seconds.
He's the smartest hockey player not playing in the NHL. I know that for sure. I think he could be the next Patrice Bergeron.
Oh, my God. It's worse. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer.
First ballot Hall of Famer, might I add. Multiple Selkies. I think he could be the next Patrice Bergeron. This is like the Philip Forsberg era. This is a thing where I'm like, please do not buy into shit like this. I think the Callum Ritchie kid can and hopefully will be successful. Do not set yourself an expectation that this kid is Patrice Bergeron because
Why doesn't
Cervelli has a fucking microphone.
Why does he just say he's Brian Trottier? He was a two-way center. Why not just say it's Brian Trottier?
Where does he get off? This kid.
Come
I
on.
think he's the next thing closest to Patrice Bergeron that we've ever seen.
No one's even said that this guy's like a number 1 center. They say he's a number 2.
Hey, this guy's Patrice Bergeron, Grump.
Come on. I mean, come on. Like I said, I'm not poo-pooing on him. I think he's going to make the team. He's going to start as a third liner. He absolutely is.
The reason I'm poo-pooing Frank Cervelli's take,
I
because
mean,
it's a shitty take that's going to set Islander fans up with the expectation of this kid's Patrice Bergeron. This kid's Philip Forsberg. Do not be upset if he's not. It's like the same thing with Dobson. This kid needs to be the best offensive defenseman in the NHL. Have a reasonable expectation of what you want from him. So when he's one of the better players on your team, you're not upset that he's not Patrice Bergeron or he's not Philip Forsberg. Please pump the fucking brakes.
I want him to be successful. Like I said, I'm going to guarantee he's better than Casey Zizekas right now.
Sure, maybe.
He will make the team. He will make the team next year.
I hope he does.
You just hope he doesn't get infected with loseritis, though. Because that's tough. It's tough to get out. It's tough to get a player.
You think Barzal?
When you're a perennial loser, it's tough to get that out of your system. And
think
all these guys on the Islanders have it.
You think Barzal's been infected now by it? Been here long enough?
I don't think he has. I think that's why he's hurt. He'd rather be injured than play with these guys.
Rather be shattering kneecaps.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think that's true.
Okay, let's wrap it up. This is a much longer show than I wanted it to be tonight, but we didn't have a show last week, so it is what it is. My God, it's 1:00 your time, 12 my time.
Yes,
Yikes.
I know that. I fully aware of that.
What do you want to say before you end the show tonight?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't, from TJ, the grumpy old man, and sometimes behind the scenes, Son X.
Thanks so much, everybody, for watching the show. We'll be live with you guys next Saturday. We'll be live for the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show tomorrow. Let's hope the Islanders continue to tank. Let's hope they continue to lose games, lose the last 7. That's the ideal scenario, all in regulation.
Yep.
Thanks so much, Grumpy. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.